In the time it's taken to click the go live button, he's gone back to the toilet. Honestly, this is what I'm working with. He went to the toilet at 1 o'clock. He then went again at 27 minutes past, hence we're a little bit late. He's now gone back to the toilet again. This is what I'm working with, chat. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine Tuesday. It is a fine Tuesday, simply because I finally get to talk about this beautiful tome sat in front of me. That's right, we're currently live in Codex Preview Fortnight for Craftworld Eldar or Eldari, and I've been waiting to talk about this for a very, very long time. If you know me, if you know the channel, you know that I'm incredibly excited about this particular codex, about this particular faction in general. I'm currently playing a practice game for Beachhead with Joe, literally right now, using Index, and I'm just like, I want the codex. I don't want the index. And I think it's been quite interesting because I've watched some content. I've looked at. So I haven't watched any content. I've looked at some thumbnails and some photos over this weekend. The amount of people moaning that it's busted already, and I don't think it is. I think it's incredibly strong. I think it's very, very, very powerful. But I don't actually think it's busted. We'll get Joe in just a moment to talk about that. And that's because there's some things that some people don't know. This is part of the problem, of course, as always, with codex leaks, when you don't have full context. For example, one thing Games Workshop is doing to combat leaks, specifically for new codexes, is they are providing us with errata and points in a manner in which can't be leaked necessarily. And when you have the points, do you know what? It makes it not that bad. It makes it not that bad. Are you okay now? Do you feel better? Are you going to stop leaking out of part of you at some point today?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too, mate.
I want to stop. I want to be free from the clutches of the toilet.
I am joined by Joe today. There is no Mr. Tom for this particular show, but Joe is here for us to talk about.
I don't know
all
what's
these
happened
things.
to Tom.
I don't know. I think he got sick here.
I'm
So we're here to talk about all things new Codex Eldar, and I put the title up on purpose to try and draw some people in. Broken, busted, or beautifully balanced. I'm gonna throw it out there right now. I don't think it's either. I don't think it's beautifully balanced. It's a beautiful book that's very well put together. In fact, I've gone as far as to call it a masterpiece. But I also don't think it's broken, busted. I think it's going to hit A to S tier. I think it's incredibly strong, but I think it's incredibly strong in the right hands.
I'd say it's not just good. It's incredibly good. I don't think it's broken because it's still.
Before you walk, because I want to just pause for that for just a moment, because everyone's going to go, oh, he's an Eldar fan. Of course he's going to say it's not broken. Joe has said he doesn't think it's broken.
Well, the thing is, though, it's like. The thing is, now it doesn't have the fate dice mechanic, which was
stupid,
insane.
Yep.
And then every unit had reroll, hit roll, reroll, wound roll.
Yep.
Which it doesn't have anymore, does it?
Nope.
So, which is what made it hyper efficient. But the thing is, like, all these incredibly good guns and swords and knives and stuff are attached to toughness 3 1 wound models, and I think what we're going to see now is a massive rise in indirect.
Yep.
So, like Chaos, you've got Obliterators, Guards, you've got Mortars. Well, Guard has just got all the indirect. Orcs have got indirect. Tyranny has got indirect. Space Marines have Thunderfire cannons and whirlwinds. I think we'll see a big rise in that. Not like a huge, like maybe 2 or 3 units in an
Flamers.
army. Flamers. Obviously, Eldar have 4 units that can turn off Overwatch a turn?
No, 1.
1.
So that's part of the new battle focus mechanic.
Yeah.
The only battle focus mechanic that can be used more than once per turn is the additional movement.
Yeah,
the rest are all once per turn.
What's really good versus Eldar is cheap little deep striking units that have like access to like flamers or grenade. The grenade. Eldar are going to despise the grenade strat.
Yeah, I've this is one of the very few times on a preview that I've read through multiple times, because obviously it's my favourite faction in the world ever. And when you first read through this book, I swear down, even myself, and I read it out, and I've read it out to Paddy, and I've read it out to Tom, and I've read it out to Joe. The first time you read through this, you sit there and you do go, Jesus fucking Christ, what on earth? Because some of it you think, well, they've really turbocharged that. I take, for example, Shining Spears is one of the big ones for me. Shining Spears is one of my favourite units of all time because I used to be a huge Simeharm player, everything jet bike. And when they got the new models, I wanted them to be great, and they've just not been very good. And currently, in the index at least, they're a bit toilet. They get 3 attacks at strength 4, -2, I think it is, 2 damage with Lance. It's terrible. They go up to 5 attacks. Strength 5, not 5 attacks. They go up to strength 5.
Do you not have a Thunderfire cannon anymore?
Do we? I don't
Sean
know.
said they don't have the Thunderfire anymore.
They might have been taken away.
You've got Whirlwinds.
Yeah.
Stop
So
being
they've
a
gone
baby.
to strength 5. They've still got the AP. They've gone to 3 damage, and they've gained anti-vehicle, anti-monster 3+, right? But what's my big problem that I have with the Shining Spears right now, Jay? They're toughness 4, 3 up save, 2 wound models with a 5+ invulnerable save, right? That is not durable. They are now, in the new points, 40 points a model. They're 120 for 3.
Can't they fly through walls, though?
They have got old flyback.
Well, they're basically the same points as a Sanguinary Guard.
Yeah.
And Sanguinary Guard's toughness 4 with 3 wounds, 2 up, armor save, 4 up invuln.
So you get better invuln, better save, and you're and you.
If there's a character near you, you might want to hit, might want to wound in combat as well.
So when you start to look at things like the points values and the speed in which this army dies, I personally believe Eldar are going to start to move into an area which, for me at least, they should have always been. In the hands of a moron, they're probably not going to do that well, and stuff dies quickly. In the hands of an incredibly skillful player, there's a high skill ceiling here. They're going to be very powerful.
I think you'll probably start. I think we'll see a brief period for the next 3 months where Eldar just win all the tournaments, because all the very good players.
Sure.
I think all the very good players will just pick them up and be like, "Blah, there you go. Here's all the stuff." But then, after 3 months, people will figure out how to deal with it.
I think you can,
and then there'll be a couple points changes.
That's one of the beautiful balanced things about this codex. I think there is ways of dealing with it, right?
The best army to deal with Eldar now, by the way, Guard. The Grotmus detachment.
That's a bold.
The Grotmus detachment Guard spanks Eldar. Because what do you do versus 9 deep striking units that can have the potential? Well, 4 in a 1 turn can deep strike within 6 of you, and they all get +1 to wound, and they've all got multiple flamers, multiple guns. I think. And then obviously the Guard army still has access to indirect. It's things like Bullgrins.
I mean, the Guard army indirect is a point of contention for a lot of people because they made them ballistic skill 5+ with indirect, which and heavy.
But then
they arguably nerfed a little bit too hard there, to be fair. But you are right. Guard can screen well against Eldar.
Yeah.
They've got lots of deep striking stuff that they can bring in. They've got flamers. They've got indirect.
Things like Bullgrin laugh at Banshees and Shining Spears.
The one that I was particularly concerned about when I first read the book as being perhaps too strong was the Wraith detachment. The Wraith detachment, interestingly, is slightly better because they've made them maximum units of 5. So even then, there's a stratagem, for example, where you can do mortals on the charge, and everyone's like, yeah, so you get 10 chances at 3+ doing mortal wounds. It's better than grenades. It's not better than grenades. You only get 5 models in a unit. I don't think it's that broken. I see the People's Panzer in chat whinging about how broken it is. Also said that he basically didn't get a second turn because he got tabled first turn with Drakari. You've not deployed very well, mate. I don't understand how you...
Did you bring an entire army of, I don't know...
Did you play 1,000 points short? I don't get it.
Did you play 750 and you only bought 2 models? I don't know. I don't know how you lose turn 1.
No, not with correct levels of terrain and an army as fast as Drakari. Yeah, I think you've probably played that badly. I'm going to be honest.
I think Eldar have some scary stats, but then when you look at the rules, you go Banshees need to be good. They've been terrible for so long. They've been so bad. Yes, they get fights first, but they've 3 attacks at damage 1.
They're 3 attacks, strength 4. Currently, 3 attacks, strength 4, -2 or 3, damage 1.
Yeah.
They go to 2 attacks, strength 5, -3, damage 2, anti-infantry 3+. Or are they still strength 4? They might be still strength 4.
But that's the thing. So you got to think Banshees are the elite. Banshees should be killing things like intercessors, not easily, but fairly comfortably. But the thing is, but that's the balance, right? So you go 5 Banshees charge a unit of intercessors and might wipe the unit, but then 5 intercessors can shoot Banshees and throw a grenade at them and just kill them without even going into combat.
5 Banshees charge a dreadnought, The Dreadnought throws them across the table.
And it's like Dark Reapers have been terrible since they got their plastic models.
Yeah, and I've seen lots of stuff out there, and I'm even seeing stuff inside chat right now about people going, if they could pick up 2 Dauntons in single turn, if right. Eldar now, what they've done is they've turbocharged their damage output, which at the moment is lacking a little bit. Yeah. It was ridiculous at the start of 10th edition, and the reason why the damage was ridiculous at the start of 10th edition was the absolute abundance of devastating wounds and the way that spilled over. Eldar have had about 27 nerfs since the start of 10th edition, and rightly so. I've never been a person who's complained about it too much, right? And at that point, they're not unplayable right now, but they're very, very hard to do anything with, and they sort of struggle in certain places unless you take very specific units. Yeah. And even then, those very specific units have been nerfed. D-cannons, which again should have been nerfed, no complaints from me whatsoever. But what I'm seeing at the moment is I talk a lot about high skill ceiling. It's both against and with that particular army. They've turbocharged their damage output. If you as a player play on a table with not enough terrain and you stand all your stuff out in the open in front of Eldar, they're going to kill your tanks. Yeah. They're going to kill your tanks. So don't do it. I think
Eldar outside of competitive in like a fun game where you're like, oh, I've got a few bits of like it's probably like a very balanced board and you've got like a fun layout. Eldar might be a bit mental because like you haven't got those restrictions in place to kind of hem them in. Because Games Workshop write rules now basically for their terrain layouts. Right, that's how they write rules. That's how they balance things. Because events and tournaments, and even in-house, they use the layouts that you've been given. Right, so if you're playing the game not using the terrain layouts that you've been given, you're kind of hampering yourself in some situations. Yeah. If you don't have enough terrain, shooting armies are going to be really, really powerful, and combat armies will be really, really bad. If you use too much terrain, then combat armies become too powerful and shooting armies become
Well, I'm playing Paddy tonight, and I'm pretty sure I'm playing against Blood Angels, right? And Blood Angels are one of those armies with Eldar where I am massively concerned because they are incredibly mobile, they're very fast, they can jump screens, and Space Marines will punch elves to death. Yeah. It's as simple as that. That's it, Is it just me, or is it very weird that a dying race is known as glass cannons? Should they not be a bit more cautious with life? Well, this is the point, though, Kane. What they mean by glass cannon, what people mean by glass cannons, right? Because you're right, narratively, they should be glass cannons. What they're saying is they hit really hard. They hit very, very hard. But if you leave your Eldar out in the open, with the new book, with the current index and with the new book, and it's got worse for the new book, they've made them quicker to death. Yeah. Wraithguard have gone from toughness 7 down to, and Wraithblades have gone from toughness 7 down to toughness 6. Fortune has disappeared. So instead of picking one of your friendly units and making the whole enemy army -1 to hit against that unit, you pick one enemy unit, and that enemy unit is -1 to wound against your units. Right? One enemy unit, not the whole army, one enemy unit. The Avatar's gone toughness 12, toughness 11. Makes a difference. Lascannon's now wounding on 3s rather than on 4s. Yeah. Right? They've made a lot of changes, little tweaks here and there, little subtle tweaks that idiots apparently can't seem to notice. Like, they are very glass cannon. They are going... and what that means for an Eldar player is if you misplace your units, if you put them in the wrong place or leave them in the open, they will die. 10th edition, however, is an edition where if you leave shit out in the open, it will die. It just so happens that Eldar is a little bit quicker at killing those things.
Do you know, it's a really good fun detachment versus elves now.
Go on.
The Vanguard detachment. The Raven Guard detachment. Because you pay 1 CP and you can booby trap. You sticky an objective, but when an enemy unit moves on it, on a 2+, like every enemy unit within range of it takes D3 more wounds.
Baron says toughness 11 will still win on 3 of us. No, you idiot. He was toughness 12. He's gone down to toughness 11. Yeah. Can people think before they type in chat? That would be really helpful. Be really, really helpful if you can think before you type in chat. He was toughness 12, so Lascannon at strength 12 was winning on 4s. He's gone to toughness 11, and Lascannon now wins him on 3s.
About like toughness 6 versus toughness 7 is not important. It's massively important.
It's hugely important.
Because if you've got to think, right, the entire Blood Angels combat stuff is like strength 6. So that means you're wounding on 4s now.
Instead of 5s.
Instead of 5s.
Yep.
Loads of all orc stuff is strength 6 -2 damage 2.
Yep.
So
strength 6 damage 2 -2. We've made a joke about it on the channel for ages. Strength 6 -2 damage 2 is the most common melee profile on like elite characters and elite melee units. Yeah. Going toughness 7 to toughness 6 is a break point. It makes a huge difference.
Well, it's a 50-50 instead of like a 1 in 3.
Yes, exactly.
So like I don't like Maths Hammer because
Because you have to math.
Because you have to math, but it's just, dice are fickle.
Yeah.
You know, and I need to roll 4 pluses. Oh, cool. I've rolled 12 dice, no 4 pluses.
No minus one to wound anymore. There is a minus one to wound. They give it misfortune to the bike seer instead of. It's all right. I'll allow it, Baron. You say my bad. I'm going to embrace you with a big colourful hug, a big cuddly hug.
Yeah.
So there is a minus one to wound. It's gone from fortune on the Farseer to misfortune on the bike seer. Misfortune is pick a single enemy unit, and then they get minus one to wound when they're attacking elves. Rather than pick a friendly unit that gets minus one to wound against everything.
I don't think you'll see it very often though, because bike seers are a nightmare to put in your list because they don't have loan op, which means you have to invest in the bikes, haven't you? The bike unit to protect them.
Wind Riders.
Yeah. Just like 60-point tax.
But I don't think Wind Riders are bad now. I think they die fast. But so what you can also do now, and it's in the errata we got sent through, which you probably haven't read, is you can. And no, it's not a dig. It's just I don't know why you would read it. Yeah. You don't need to know it. Is you can attach a Wind Rider unit of Warlocks to Wind Riders, and then attach a Farseer to that.
Yeah.
So you can take 3 Wind Riders plus 2 Warlocks plus a Farseer on bike. It's reasonable then, that unit. It's not bad. It's okay. You can, they've got things like twin-linked shuriken catapults, and if you're targeting a unit on an objective, you get to reroll hits, reroll wounds at -1. It's okay. There's combinations. If you shoot something with a War Walker, anything else that targets that unit gets an additional AP. You can then get to a point where you've got 2 units, twin-linked, rerolling hits, rerolling wounds, AP2, 1 damage. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's death by 1,000 cuts, which is what Eldar should be. I hated, and I still kind of hate the era of D-cannons, go bang, everything dies because I've looked at you. Yeah. D-cannons now can be put in Guardian units, and this is where I do actually believe that they put some thought into it. You can attach a D-cannon to a Guardian unit, it becomes part of the unit, right? Yeah. The unit, and it goes down to toughness 3. You can then attach a Farseer to a Guardian unit as well as the D-cannon, and a Farseer can flip any dice to a 6. And the D-cannon still got devastating wounds. Yeah. But it can't do it for a support weapon.
Yeah.
They thought about it.
They have really stripped out a lot of dev wounds from that book. A lot. They're still in there, like everyone has access to some kind of dev wounds. But they've really stripped it out.
People's Panzer are still fighting hard, by the way. My deployment was not a skill issue. Look, if he tabled you in a turn, it is. I have a significant number of units on the table at the moment that Joe and I are just playing in a tournament practice game. When we both started the game, we basically couldn't see any of each other's units because of terrain. Yeah. So unless he's running 2,000 points of Eldar indirect, and indirect is a bit shit right now, he shouldn't have tabled you in a turn, mate.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
I think like you need to think like if you're playing Drakari into people that running Eldar, you want mandrakes. I think if you play a game of Drakari and you don't have 10 mandrakes in your army, you've done something.
Mandrakes are just good in general, though, right?
It's really good. They're uppy downy infiltrating unit.
I think what Eldar will do, I think this new codex, what it will do is I think it will mean the meta will adapt now going forward, which you've alluded to a lot anyway since you've read the book. I think the meta's going to adapt. And I don't ever think it's a bad thing when the meta has to adapt. And I always find it hilarious when a player has played a certain way or a certain bunch of units for the last year and a half, and a new book comes out and he goes, "What do you mean my army doesn't beat it straight away?" Like, boo-hoo. The meta shifts. Yeah. This codex, I don't actually believe it's going to turn up and win every event. I think in the hands of an incredible player, in the hands of the Art of War boys, in the hands of Manny, in the hands of people like that, they're probably going to run rampant with these, especially against subpar players. Yeah. They're going to be incredible with this army. They are going to be incredible. But the army is not, so many people, and you know it's not broken when there is almost as many people saying it's not broken as there are saying it is. In the studio here, people aren't massively concerned about this book. Not really.
There are ways around them. I think it's easy to overreact when it comes out, but I don't think people are taking things like points, because the points didn't get leaked, did they?
The points are out apparently.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't have been shown off.
Yeah.
There is a specific thing in the email that we got that says that they can't be shown. You can't just recreate it and share it. You can't. Yeah. We could use it to do our battle reports.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether they've been leaked or not. I'm not sure because I'm trying to not pay attention to leaks.
Yeah. Because it's easy to kind of just assume that like Eldar get everything all the time. You know, like if your People's Panzer, if your mate was running Eldar, using the old points,
Well,
then there's probably a chance that his army was incorrect. Because he's probably got more.
Well, he's saying that the new point's right as well, but, there's the other point I want to touch on today, actually, which is quite important. This happens frequently, and I think Games Workshop have not done themselves any favours here. This is a problem that Games Workshop have had for a number of years, and I've seen comments in chat at the start of the stream. Eldar always come out broken, and they have that reputation now. So they could have released. I firmly believe they could have released the most garbage codex they have done in 10th edition, and there will be people out going, "They're broken," because that's what people like to do now. Yeah. And it's very, 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 very. I honestly believe now, and this is not Eldar related. This is the game in general. I find it a little bit concerning nowadays that people find it far too easy to call anything broken, rather than look at how they perhaps unlock that issue or solve that problem or tackle it. And it's not just Eldar.
No.
Anything at all.
Sean, this is, can you run Grotma's Guard against them? I have to run next week because I have to paint some more Scions. I've only got
You can run Grotma's Guard, 100%.
I'll run Grotma's Guard into them next week.
I don't know what I'm playing at the moment. I'm playing Paddy with Blood Angels today. I'm not sure what the game is on Thursday.
Tyranids.
There's not. Is it Tyranids you? There's not a game I'm playing at the moment where I'm hyper confident I'm definitely going to win.
I think Tyranids might be quite good versus Eldar as well.
Tyranids could be interesting, yeah.
What's annoying is that new Termagants. The new Terminate squads get like 2 flamers.
This is where also, by the way, anything that Joe says that he thinks might be good now into Eldar, please don't take it as purchasing advice. Because he has these random thoughts that come into his head. And we've seen what Joe maths is like, and we've seen how he math hands anything. Just roll all 6s and you'll be fine.
So what Eldar's going to struggle into Tyranid is a Tyranid Horde.
Yeah.
Because you can't kill enough.
You can, but you'd have to build to be able to kill Horde, which means that you then... And this is the thing as well. I look at the tools in this toolbox, and you cannot fit everything you want. I'm already struggling to put a list together for tonight to fit everything I want in, which is good.
Because like Banshees into things like Gene Stealers, right? 10-man Gene Stealers. So you got Janezar and 10 Banshees into 10 Gene Stealers and a Broodlord. The Banshees immediately go to -1 to hit. From the Broodlord. The Broodlord just goes you -1 to hit, right?
Remembering that they lost the +1 to hit from adding the Phoenix Lord as well.
Yeah, so you're hitting up, but they hit on 2s anyway, didn't they?
Let's have a look. Carry on.
But like the Gene Stealers still have a 5-up invuln. They've got 2 wounds, and you get the 5-up feel no pain, right? And if they kill stuff, you've got a 1 CP strat to fight on death. Banshees don't want Gene Stealers fighting on death into them. Because that causes them problems. So that causes them problems.
Well, here's the thing, right? Wargamers be wargamers, which means wargamers are going to moan no matter what. Yeah. These are the people that, if they got given the rules themselves, would say it's perfectly fine and balanced. And the second someone else gets given the rules, they're going to call it broken and busted. Yeah. Because that's what a lot of wargamers do. What I don't want to focus on, I wanted to bring it up for the first half an hour, but what I don't want to focus on is the fact that so many fucking Sadaks are just bitching and moaning and again, if their faction got given it, they'd be going, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm chuffed with this. This book, however, for those of people with a balanced approach who don't feel like they've been touched in the dark places, and you have to get a dull and show people because it seems to be that impacting on people. In general, like this book, I think, things like Meta Ultramarines right now does some fucking damage to this.
Yeah.
Does some damage to this.
You just have access to fight first, cause a problem. Because what happens if Banshees charge you and you've got fight first, does you still fight first? So you're like, so if you've got access to fight first, either in a strats or characters, probably start to have a look at them, like Space Marine players taking Judicas
and Master of Execution, which we've been using in the studio amongst all of us for ages. What I do want to talk about, however, rather than people moaning about it, is the book in general. Games Workshop, if you're watching, which they do, this is an absolute masterpiece of a book. Now, I'm going to ignore you in chat for a brief moment because you could already see in the conversation so many people going, it's strong and it's good, but it's not busted. People going, it's busted because it beat me once. This is an absolute masterpiece for a number of reasons. Yeah. So they have pumped up the damage output on things that needed it and also made them a little bit more fragile, which fits in with the Eldar narrative. They've thought about certain issues where Wraith units in 10... Here's how it's a masterpiece, right? Wraith units currently in 10-man blobs were a problem. Right, they've been a problem for a while, so they made some changes to make them less of a problem. So what they've got is they've gone 10 man's a problem. We're going to make them a 5-man unit. We're going to drop the toughness from 7 to 6. We're going to remove the -1 to wound that you can give them. Yeah. That's a masterpiece. But as a masterpiece, I already know that people have got 30 wraiths, and I don't want people to not field them. So I'm going to give you a detachment where wraiths become battle line. You still can't spam a stratagem that's really, really good on a unit of 10. You can only take 5-man units, but you could field 30 of them.
Have they split them out?
Wraith blades?
Yeah.
No.
So Wraith, Wraith blades with axes and swords are in the same one, so you can't run 6 axes, 6 swords.
No.
Okay.
You can't run 6 flamers, 6 guns. You can only run. But they've gone. We want to make sure that people that have got 30 don't then go, why have I got 30 now? I can only run 15.
Yeah.
So what they've done is they've gone, here's a way that you can do that. That's very, very good. This codex has 8 detachments in it, right? They've taken the original index one, which was busted. That was busted. I went live on Titans in the 10 days of 10th edition and said it is busted, right, and showed that it was busted. That was busted. So I will, and this is the other thing. I will call out busted Eldar shit when it's busted.
Yeah.
And I went live and said that was broken and proved it when I almost overwatched. Well, I did. I could have overwatched. I didn't. I said if I spent the CP, this is what would happen. I overwatched, killed an Imperial Knight. I said I'm not spending that CP. Let's make a game of this, right? It's got 8 detachments. I actually think every single one of them's got some play as well. There is definitely stronger ones and weaker ones, but it's not one of those where you look at a book like, say, Custodes, and you go, that detachment's not usable.
Yeah.
This is not that book. That becomes a masterpiece. And everyone go, it's unfair if I'm a Tau player and I can't use my Kroot detachment. I would argue you're probably right, but we have to give them the opportunity to get better. If the next codex comes out, and they've got a detachment that's flat unusable because it's dog shit, I then think people are better prepped to moan. But we don't yet know if this is the new standard going forward, and it might be. Go on, what you reading?
Jill's just gone, how do I, as a terrible dice roller, manage against perfectly balanced, not balanced codex with my new love, Dark Angels? Run 15 Deathwing Knights.
Dark Angels are actually not too bad into this deal.
And laugh.
Yeah.
Right? Because -1 damage. What you could do, right, if you're feeling extra spicy, you really want to upset Eldar players, run the company, the first
Inner Circle Companions.
Not Inner Circle Companions. No, the detachment.
Inner Circle Task Force.
The first company veterans detachment.
Yeah.
Then you get -2 damage Deathwing.
Damien says, so why couldn't I have crisis suits get battle line? Because you've got 3 different data sheets. You could take 9 units of crisis suits, you lunatic.
Yeah.
That's why. Because you've got Fire Knife and Sunforge and the other one. So you could already take 9 units of crisis suits.
Yeah.
How many do you want?
You got 27 units.
That's why you can't take them as battle line, nutter.
Yeah. I've got 6 units of all melter.
I've already said, chat, think before you type. So yeah, back to this. 8 detachments, all actually usable. And I don't yet know which one's my favourite. I've got 3 that I already think are great.
I've not looked at it enough.
I already love the Aspect Host, the Wind Rider Host, and the Spirit Host.
Yeah, if I'm 100% honest, people, we kind of got the rules for the last 2 books relatively close to each other. And I was like, I'm not going to read both books. I was like, I'm just all Guard at the moment.
Yeah, you focus on Guard, I focus on Eldar.
Because I was like, I'm not looking at Eldar because I just don't want rules confusion. So I've not really looked at it. I wanted to start Eldar like 6-7 months ago, and I was like, I want to do Swordwind, and I was like, that's a detachment I'm going to use, whether it's good or not.
And there is kind of a Swordwind detachment called the Aspect Host, which is very good. I'm thinking about throwing the Aspect Host down today.
I got a Core the Young King detachment, which is all the lords and the what's his name?
That is Aspect Host.
Yeah,
which is Swordwind essentially.
Yeah,
which is all aspects. All it impacts is aspects in the Avatar.
Oh yeah,
every stratagem aspect.
That's Core the Young King as well, isn't it?
Essentially, yes. Yeah. In essence, right. So, Seer Council is now the one with Fate dice. They fixed Fate dice.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near as bad as it was. You still roll 6 dice on a Strike Force game, and then what you do is those 6 dice correlate specifically to specific stratagems, right? So, 1 on a dice roll specifically is the presentment of dread, and then you can use that stratagem for free if you spend a Fate dice.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to spend the Fate dice with that number on it. Okay? Simple as that. The votive you need... People are the most butthurt about this one, but I think they're most butthurt because they went, let's not give you access to every Drakari unit. That's crazy. And they restricted a load of the Drakari units that you can take, and I think that makes it better. But what they also did is they put all those Drakari units that you can take in this book. So you have to buy a second book anymore.
I was sad that you can't take Lilith.
I am sad that you can't take Lilith from a narrative perspective, definitely. But I also feel like Drakari players now go, we've got Lilith.
Yeah.
That's ours.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
I think I just because like obviously her whole thing at the moment is hanging around with Yunari.
Yeah, and one of the things they've done really well, which we've been calling for ages, and it'd be unfair to call for this for ages, for them to do it and for us to moan about it. Goes to the webway, Harlequin's detachment, right? Harlequin troops become battle line.
Yeah.
No longer do you need to take a troop master as a warlord and blah, blah, blah. They just become battle line, right? Guardian Battle Host actually makes your basic troops usable. Not incredible, but usable. But they include Dire Avenger, Guardian, Support Weapon, and War Walker units, which is nice. I quite like it. Spirit Conclave makes Wraiths and Wraith Guards and Wraith Blades battle line. Good, that's what we should do, and affects Wraith units, and a lot of it doesn't affect Titanic units, which is good because Wraith Knights. Wind Rider Host makes Wind Riders battle line. Like, they've done a good job. War Host is the old detachment one, and they've made it completely different to what it was before, and they focused it around the new battle focus ability. So no longer just reroll a hit roll, reroll a wound roll, which is a feels bad moment.
Yeah.
And when you're sat there with a fire prism that has 2 shots and says it can reroll a hit roll, reroll a wound roll, and you go, cool, but I can also do that for my detachment ability, so I can reroll both hits, both wounds.
Yeah.
It just creates feel bad, right? Go back to fire prisms that can fire through each other, which
Also,
people have a problem with for ages.
Standardized anti-tank tanks having 2 shots.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Just don't have the rerolls.
But yeah, well, the anti-tank fire prism has 2 shots, Joe. Yeah. And what it used to do was it used to prism shoot and still get both shots.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. If it prism shoots out of line of sight, it goes down to 1 shot. There's lots of little tweaks here that I think people are missing that makes this codex a beautifully put together book. There's a couple of things that I think are very, very strong. There's a couple of things I think are very, very strong. There's a couple of things in a lot of books, though, that I think are very, very strong. And there's a couple of combinations that I think are very, very strong. And I think there's a lot of points that will be tweaked. But I genuinely believe, and one of the ways I think you can tell when a book's quite good is I don't think we're going to see a lot of rules changes from this in balanced data states. I think we're going to see points adjustments. Lots of points adjustments. But I don't think for one moment we're actually going to see huge rules changes.
Yeah, because people like complaining about Lyca's being too powerful. Like, her damage output's pretty poo.
Yeah, but it's what she can give to others because she gives.
Yeah, she can make the unit that she joins good.
But she can also make the army good because she shoots at a unit and gives the army crit 5s against it.
Yeah, but only one unit.
That she's targeted. Yeah.
So it's not like she's going, everyone within 6 inches of me gets crit 5s.
Yeah.
You go, that one target. And if your opponent, if the Eldar player puts everything out in the open so it can get crit 5 versus that one target, guess what? Your opponent's army's out in the open.
It's a funny world, though, isn't it? Because the community asks for a load of stuff to happen. Games Workshop puts all those stuffs into a codex, and because it's Eldar, everyone moans. If it wasn't Eldar, if this was Space Marines, a load more people would be less moany and more happy about it. Yeah. But Games Workshop, I feel sorry for them sometimes. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't. No matter what happens, people will always find a reason to complain about Games Workshop. Yeah. And this is one of those occasions where my personal opinion right now is, and you know what, I'm open to be proven wrong. I am always open to be proven wrong. I've said this before, I'll say it again. So it might be that we come off the back of 2 weeks and I go, actually, I'm just easily winning. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I, at the moment, look at that book and I'm like, GG Games Workshop, it's very well done.
That
very well done.
Attachment that affects only aspect units.
Yeah, and the Avatar.
Yeah. Does the Crimson Hunter, is the Crimson Hunter classed as an aspect?
You want to make the Crimson Hunter work.
I want the Crimson Hunter to be good.
You really want the Crimson Hunter to work.
Planes are bad now, and
planes are just dull in the game in general.
Yeah, but it bugs because the Crimson Hunter is an aspect, but Games Workshop just does no.
It was an aspect, and when you used to be able to pay points to upgrade individual aspects, you could pay points to upgrade a Crimson Hunter.
Because technically, there should be a Crimson Hunter.
The Crimson Hunter does have Aspect Warrior, yes.
Yeah. So what does he get from that detachment?
So the detachment allows you to reroll hits of 1 or wounds of 1 every time you activate, you pick per unit. So specific wording, each time an Aspect Warrior or Avatar of Cain unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight, select one of the following abilities for it to gain until the end of the phase. Ability 1 is, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. Ability 2 is, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. You don't get both, you get one or the other. Right, and then you've got a bunch of strats that specifically target Aspect Warrior or Avatar of Cain.
Triple Crimson Hunter list. Here we come.
I think the Eldari Codex is well made. Just want my nids to get some love, and this is the problem. Okay, and I do understand this complaint because people from other codexes will look at some of the detachments they've got and go, Custodes players, for example. I feel for a Custodians player. I am not surprised for 1 minute that Custodians only got 4 detachments and Eldar got 8. If you look at the amount of units they both have access to, it doesn't surprise me that Custodians got access to 4, Eldar got 8. That isn't a surprise. I would like to standardise every single faction gets the same number of detachments, but I don't think it's going to happen. But when you look at those Custodians detachments, at least one of them is just not usable.
Yeah.
And then one of them is meh, and then one's okay and one's a bit better. And then you've got here 8 where I think 5 are good, and then the other 3 are still very, very usable, right? Very, very usable. I think that's why people can be upset, and I do understand that.
Yeah.
But to instantly cry out, it's broken, it's busted, is I think disingenuous, and I think just people just like to moan.
I think there will be some armies that will struggle versus Eldar in the early days. Like, I do think armies like Custodes will struggle, but it's because Custodes, like, will struggle into units like things like Banshees, you know, because if Banshees catch them in the open, not in the open, but just catch them, you're like, you're going to lose a couple.
But Banshees, but Banshees are still a 5-man Banshee unit is still 10 attacks, only hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s against your Custodians, damage 2. And the AP3 is irrelevant because you get a 4-up invulnerable save. And if you're firing them into Wardens, they've got Feel No Pain that they can activate when the Banshees come in and then go, bang, you and that's the thing. What happens when the Custodians survive the Banshees?
Yeah,
the Banshees die very quickly. And this is, people are looking at the damage output. I get it. The damage output is turbocharged for Eldar right now. What they're not looking at is how fast these things are going to die. Yeah. And if you don't kill them and you don't kill the right things, I think Eldar are going to become an incredibly technical army to play with. But I also think they'll be quite technical to play against. If you pick your targets early, if you've got an infantry heavy army and he's got 2 units of Banshees on the table, get them Banshees dead as fast as possible.
Warner says pain noises for Tau. Do you know who's got really good in Tau?
What?
Flamer Crisis suits.
Flamer Crisis suits got very good because they're not infantry. Although if they get hit by Shining Spears, but Shining Spears have gone up to 120 points for 3.
Yeah, but you've got your Flamer unit of Crisis suits drops down at strength 5 -1.
Yeah,
1 damage, but there's 2d6 per guy.
And if you don't allow your Shining Spears to be able to stage correctly, because they can now essentially fly through walls, if you don't let them do that, if you keep enough distance that they have to charge you in the open, you just Overwatch and go, you're dead.
Yeah. Do you know what Tau have access to? Indirect.
Yeah. Good indirect.
Good indirect.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. If breaches catch any Eldar unit in the open, or breaches catch any unit in the open in any army.
Do you know what straight fucks a lot of Eldar now, Joe? Intercessors.
Yeah.
Oh, I just get extra shots. Intercessors murder elves nowadays. Murder them.
Yeah, I think it's just, I know you can turn off Overwatch.
1 unit! Why is this a thing as well? Why is it a thing where it's like 1 unit can do one thing one time, so just apply it to the whole army all the time?
Yeah, it turns off Overwatch, but it doesn't stop you from shooting in your turn. So if you deep strike in, they're not going to be like, you can't shoot me now, because that's not Overwatch, that's just normal shooting. So I think we'll be fine. I think it's a scary time.
Look at the they were quite poor in the preview so far. But look at Tempestus Aquilans, right? Deep strike in, flame, shoot and phase, flame again.
Yeah.
That's not Overwatch. Neither of those are Overwatch. Just done.
I think it's easy to be scared of. And the thing is, if we're going to be scared of Eldar, I think in the hands of incredibly good players, they will, if they're beating you already, they'll just beat you the same with Eldar, you know. And I think in the hands of incredibly good players, Eldar are going to be a bit of a boogeyman competitively, but your average person playing it, I don't think you have to worry too much.
No,
because the moment you make a mistake with Eldar, you will be punished for it.
Yeah, and I think if you're a person who's going to bitch and moan about Eldar, this is probably the wrong channel for you as well. Quite honestly,
no.
Well, it was anyway. I was always pro Eldar player.
I know, but you stopped using them
decided. Hey,
you did stop using them.
So I have decided not to let other people bitching, moaning, and whinging ruin my enjoyment of a game.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I'm taking Eldar to Beachhead, and I have taken out everything that people can complain about.
Yeah.
The Avatars out, D-cannons are out. I've taken all I've got is 2 bricks of 10 wraiths, and even then, you've seen that they're quite killable. We're playing the game now. I think you weren't advanced and charged into a turn 1, and you're actually having fun. No offense, Tom.
I'd say Leo says, "What's happened to the stream?" I'm like,
Everything's fine with the stream.
Everything's
Yeah.
It's just you.
Double Gatling cannons of spoilers. Oh my god. Just obliterate them. Gone.
The spoilers.
Yeah, double Gatling cannons of spoilers. The big Chaos Knights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Liam and Russ Punishers. You know.
Oh yeah.
The Gladiator. Gladiator. Reaper.
Yeah.
Finally got used to use them now.
But all this is a bit of a meta change. And I think meta changes, whether it's because of Gene Stealer cults, whether it's because of Eldar, whether it's because of the emergence of Space Marine lists, I think meta changes are good for the game. They're healthy. Because if you have no meta changes, 18 months into the game, it's the same armies playing the same list, playing the same ways.
Yeah.
And that gets boring and stale.
And what's also good is they just made Infernus Marines better.
I mean, I liked them with the changes recently anyway, and now I think they are better, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
I think we'll be fine.
I think everything's fine.
We'll be all right. I know there are people out there like the sky is falling. It's the most broken codex ever, and there will be more channels that go like Games Workshop broke Warhammer again. You know they haven't.
Just go on that chat and tell them get a fucking grip.
Yeah. And then push it
And if Joe, who's going to have to face them a lot, is going, I don't think they're that bad, and Joe is the sensible one out of the two of us, and the calmer one out of the two of us, I think if he's saying, I don't think it's going to be that bad, chat, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. All right?
You just have to listen to Liam complain about me using the grenade strat 5 get 10.
No.
Yeah, just grenade.
With grenadiers.
Oh, God, grenadiers.
There we go.
Shotguns and flamers and grenades. Living the dream.
5-man race and spirits here not able to join. What do you mean? What are you complaining about there? You mean the spirits here who gets load up if he's within 3 inches of a race construct? You want about that spirits here? Cool, right.
Yeah. New Ultramarines with flamer aggressors.
Which were good anyway.
Which are really good anyway.
Yeah.
You know? Like, your armies haven't got worse. You know?
A lot of armies, I don't know about all of them, but a lot of armies have a lot of tools that will be able to deal with this codex.
What they've done now, essentially, with the Eldar Codex, in my humble opinion, right, is they've just made the shit Eldar units that people wanted to use but they couldn't, just made them viable now. Yeah. And like I always said, Dark Reaper should be damage 3. Why are they when they were 2 shots, make them damage 2. Now they're 1 shot, make them damage 3. You know, I feel like that's perfectly acceptable.
1 shot damage 3 is, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, Banshee's the most elite specialized combat unit in Eldar, like, struggle to kill intercessors.
But Reapers, again, same as what you've said already, it's on a toughness 3 body.
Yeah.
So they're not difficult to kill.
And guess what? If they want to shoot you, that means they've got to be able to see you. And if they can see you, you can see them.
Yes.
You know?
Matt said there's an entire YouTube economy based on reacting to the most negative interpretation possible. Resist it. Good job, lads. Well, we do anyway.
But the problem is when you're positive, people don't like it either.
Yeah, we did, Matt. Eventually, for a while, we did fall down the sort of negative tree. And I found that it actually negatively impacted my attitude. It negatively impacted my kind of morale. And it negatively impacted the channel in general. And we pulled ourselves out of it because you're right. It's... People do it for clicks and for rage bait and reactions, and people will. You get if you put a stream up there saying this codex is good and quite balanced. So my title, Matt, if I'm being honest with you, is done on purpose. It's playing the YouTube game. If I'd have just put saying this codex is good, right? Less people tune in.
Yeah.
If you say this is the most broken shit they've ever made, we'd probably have more viewers than I've got right now. So I'd like to go in between where I ask the question and then we're going to answer it in what we think is a balanced approach to answering the question. Is it broken or is it not? I don't think it's broken. I don't think it's beautifully balanced. I think there's some tweaks for it. There's a couple of things I look at in this book and I think it's going to need a slight points tweak, if I'm honest. And looking at the points that we've got, some of those tweaks have already happened, right? But at this point, I think that there is a couple of little tweaks here and there that need to happen. Yeah. Otherwise, I think they've actually done a very good job of this book. Sure. That's not to say, this is what I'm trying to get through to people. That's not to say that every book up to this is also perfectly fine. They've done bad jobs of previous books. And this is a better version of. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to have a go at them for doing a bad job of previous books, and then you're going to have a go at them when they do a good job of a book, well, then they're going to go, well, fuck you then. We can't win. Yeah. So, you know.
Mr. Warhips has said, next edition's the time to fear Eldar.
Why?
Because they'll get new units.
I'm not sure if they will.
Because we're in the edition now of replacing old units, existing units of old models.
But Eldar have had a ton of like releases of models over the course of the last few editions. Right?
Oh yeah, but
because they've done a huge overhaul of a lot.
Yeah.
They still have stuff to replace though. Let's not forget the Viper,
Yeah.
which is an incredibly old kit that looks very derpy, and so does the driver and pilot. The War Walker, which is quite an old kit and looks derpy as a pilot.
Oh, I love the War Walker.
I do like the War Walker, but I have to get a new Guardian head and put that on because the old head is shit. And there's a couple other bits and bobs and I think maybe what you'll see is you might see a return. You might see an return of the Autarch Skyrunner, which has been removed from the Codex. You might see the Phoenix Lords for Shining Spears comes. You might get a couple of like, you won't get a
Someone
lot.
else will leave. Can you have 6 at a time?
You won't get a lot at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, the Rhaladandra starts.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's okay to feel some jealousy if you are underwhelmed by your code. Yeah, that's fine.
I like the idea that Fugan's gone. Not Fugan. What's his name? Karandras. I like the idea that he goes forever now. Games Workshop just shelve him for 10 years. Just keep bringing back other like Phoenix Lords. It's like, can't start until he comes back. You know, oh, he's dead. Never starts. You know,
the Wraith Lord could do with a new kit. I absolutely don't think that they're going to bring out a load of new units for Eldar.
The Wraith Lord's in a safe place. It's proper static. Like I'd like to see.
It's not a terrible kit.
I'd like to see a more posable version. You know. But the thing is, though, like asking for a new model is not also necessarily a great thing either.
No,
I got a new Screamer. I wanted a new Screamer Killer model, and look at what I got.
It's a cool model. It is a cool model, but its static pose kills it.
It's got. I don't mind the static pose. There's a stupid head on it. It's kind of given.
It's screaming.
It's given this kind of old monk head that's got the reverse bowl cut. You know?
Well, yeah, I guess.
I don't like the Screamer Killer model.
I am almost done building my first army, looking towards Eldar or Necrons. It's on my airplanes. I'm not sure which models I think are cooler. They're both cool. Necrons are going to be easier for you to paint.
But the thing is, though, like people say, like Orthgames with Havoc, Reaper Chain Cannons, really good versus Eldar. The problem, though, right, is changing your list to deal with Eldar will make you not great at fighting other things.
Depends how much you change your list.
So if you change your list loads to deal with Eldar, and then you turn up and fight Tyrannid or Demon Monster Mash, you're like, oh, I'm in trouble all of a sudden because I can only deal low strength, low damage weapons.
Yeah. I still think this is a beautiful book. I think they've done an incredible job. I think there is a couple of tweaks that needs to be made for certain units, but overall, I wouldn't call this broken. I think it's well put together. I think the fact that all the detachments have options is a positive. I would like to see more codexes akin to this, where they lean heavily into the narrative, where they do what they're supposed to do. They hit hard, but they die fast if you misplace them. I think that's very important. I like playing trading games. I played trading games for ages. With old Harlequins and stuff, where you go, I know my stuff's going to die, but I need to do this to kill your unit or get that objective or do that thing, and I know it's going to die, and you accept the fact it's going to die, and then you try and control how much your opponent can kill. I love that kind of clever play. I'm really into it, and I feel like I'm going to be able to do that again.
It's like when, like, currently when you're like, I have got trading units, but I need to kill a unit of 5 intercessors, and I've got unit of Banshees here. Well, they can't kill 5 intercessors. Whereas now they can.
Yeah,
but it's not guaranteed.
The other thing as well is, like, it's very, very easy for a million people out there who have read the book once, who play once a month, to go, this is broken. Like, get it in hand and play with it for a while, for Christ's sake, first. Yeah. You know, we will really know 3 months down the line whether this is actually broken or not. I don't think it is, but we'll really know if it is. I think this is a very well done book.
Can I request a redo on the Chaos one?
Yeah. Just another edition in the way, mate. So I think it's a really well done book, and like I say, I don't want to be one of those people that goes, "Oh, it's broken," just because it can kill some stuff. For Christ's sake, like, get a grip, people. And again, like I say, you can't moan that they do. I want things to become battle line and standard detachments. Okay, again, here you go, people. You can have it. Oh no, it's rubbish because it's Eldar.
Yeah, like you got, like, have battle line like bikes. I want battle line Vipers instead. You know.
Yeah, well, that's what happens in chat.
It's like, oh, here's the new Eldar. Where's my squats? Like, to be realistic, people.
Why is the Fire Dragon axe better than better than X-Hux axe better than Fugans? I mean, it depends on how you look at it, doesn't it? Joe, I'm going to ask you a question right now, and I want you to just answer me honestly. And I don't know if you know the answer to this before I ask you the question about what's going on in the Codex, but I'm going to ask you anyway and see what answer you get. You have an axe, right?
I love an axe.
Would you rather have D6 damage or flat 3 damage?
Flat 3.
Okay.
Every time.
Fugan gets
D3 or flat 3?
no D6 or flat 3.
Oh, flat 3 every time.
Yeah. So Fugan gets 6 attacks that hits on 2s at strength 5 minus 4 3. The Exarch gets 3 attacks that hit on 3s at strength 6 minus 4 d6. Which one's better? Which one would you rather have?
The flat damage 3 one.
Fugan's axe, yeah. So it's 1 strength worse, but you get 6 attacks instead of 3 and 3 damages to the d6. I'd pick Fugan's axe every single time.
Yeah, because the problem about d6 is like it's okay into 2 wound stuff.
Yep.
Right? But the moment you have to fight anything with 3 wounds, that's when you start rolling 1 to 2s. And
I have seen someone out there saying, oh yeah, but with Assured Destruction, you can reroll the damage roll against vehicles and monsters. You can. You're right. Yeah. But you have to read the first sentence that says in your shooting phase.
Yeah.
And you're not swinging your axe in your shooting phase. So I would take Fugan's axe. So I don't actually think it is better.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. There you go. There's an answer for you, Drew. I think flat 3 is better.
Yeah, flat 3s. It's just guaranteed. You know what you're getting and you can bank on it. You know.
Yeah.
That's what you want. It's like what Games Workshop when they gave Mephiston D3 damage. I was like, no, I just want 2 damage.
I personally
just had 2.
I personally would like to see all random damage removed from the game, despite the fact that I like it being the game being a dice roll. Swingy D6s and then the only reason why I want to see it removed is because some armies have loads of random damage and some armies have none, and I think it's a bit weird.
It's odd because I don't like. I like to have if it's low damage, I don't mind it being fixed. You know, so getting rid of D3, just having flat 2.
Ockingdor says, "So I throw my axe."
Yeah. And then, get rid of D6 combat weapons, just make them flat damage 3, right? Yeah. In shooting, I don't mind it being random above 3 damage, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't mind a lance cannon being D6 plus 1 because you might have hit your target, but a wing mirror still counts as part of a car, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you might just knock off the wing mirror.
Here's another thing I'm going to say as well, right? When it comes to reviewing codexes and talk about what's broken and what's not broken, and this goes against the channel, right? So listen very carefully here, chat, right? And I mean this sincerely as well. There's 1,000,001 YouTube channels out there, and there's a large number of people that get to preview the rules and stuff like that for Games Workshop. Okay, please remember that clicks and views and likes and comments are what those channels want. And I would argue that some of them will hunt those clicks and views and likes and comments over giving you an honest, fair and balanced review.
Yeah.
They want clickbait, they want engagement, because that is ultimately how people, ourselves included, make money. There's a reason why we put significantly less emphasis on ad revenue and more emphasis on super chats and memberships, because I want to earn that revenue rather than just you've clicked on it so I've made some money off of you from an advert, right? So if you like the way we approach things, if you like what we do, then that's when we encourage you to become a member, to gift memberships or to super chat your opinions, which we're going to jump into in just a minute. Ultimately, though, I'm going to give you one piece of advice that you've never heard me say before, necessarily, right? One piece of advice. Make up your own fucking mind.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what everybody else says. Wait. On the 8th of February, get the book in your hand, read the book, right? Have a look at the book, and then start to play with it yourself and make up your own mind.
Yeah.
Play against it if you're not an Eldar player. Make up your own mind. Stop listening to influencers who are trying to clickbait you into clicking on a video or engaging with them by making you rage and argue with them and shout at them. Stop listening to those people. Stop listening to those. Stop listening to us. Make up your own mind.
You want them to listen to us because it means they're watching.
I want them to watch and engage.
Oh, okay, cool. Yes.
But I want them to tell us, I don't like reviewing codexes. We're going to review it. We review it more when we do our games than we do when we actually sit here in the chairs.
Also, right?
Because in a vacuum, you look at Howling Banshees in a vacuum, or you look at Shining Spears in a vacuum, and you go, they're incredible. And then you play them on the table and go, oh, they die a lot quicker than I thought they would.
Well, the great thing about Banshees, right, is they can go in and drop a unit of knobs, right? Orc knobs, which are a really super killer unit. But then if those Banshees are stuck in the open, like a unit of 10 grots can do some serious damage to Banshees all of a sudden. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
At the moment, a 5-man unit of Banshees loses 2
But when did we just become a society that just listens to people on the internet and does exactly what they say? We still don't. So why do people get so worked up about it?
I think,
and if you are part of a society that just listens to, and I don't mean influencers in the Warhammer space, I just mean in general, listens to an influencer, and because some twat has told me to buy Prime, I buy Prime. No, that makes you a knob. Don't buy the Prime drink at an overinflated price because some influencer has told you to. You fucking sad individual, right?
You should buy Liquid Death instead.
If you're an Eldar fan, I would highly recommend you buy this based on what I've read. But I'm not saying you should buy this. I think this is a great book. If you're going to do it, use our Element link. But ultimately, I'm never going to want to be the person who sits responsible for going, I think this is a great book, and you buy it and go, it's dog shit. I don't want to be that person. So I'm saying make up your own mind.
Yeah. I like it. I think it's a good book from what I've read of it. I don't think it's broken. And also, like, people are like, oh, why are you going through all the pages? It's Tuesday. Like, the book's been out,
but that's
available to everyone for the last 3 and a bit days.
That's dull content as well.
Once you've
and not only that, going through all the pages, page by page, is also against NDA, Jay.
Yeah,
you can't do that. You're
not
allowed to do that.
So, like, things are like we can tell you our thoughts and ideas, and like, we could play it, and we can show you. It's a bit more exciting than us going. This stratagem is 1 CP. It gives you a 5-up feel no pain, like every other codex, apart from Chaos Space Marines.
They're called influencers, should be called shepherds because they need sheep, 100%.
But the same, like, admit that the same thing exists within the realms of computer games as well, right? Everyone just wants to know the best way of running a specific thing so that they just win. You know, what's the best gun in Call of Duty? Who's the best character in Marvel?
Fucking nailed it as well. Listening to influencers for influencers' sake leads to bathwater. Fucking nailed it, mate. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Love it. If you've got any questions, anything you want to say, chuck it in as a super chat right now. We're going to jump into chat right now, right? Okay. Wait, Man reads book with overhead cameras against NDA? Yes. I did like the five bottom five takes from the new releases DMUSD. So news on that. I might bring that back, but not as a review video for an hour at 10 o'clock. I think we might do them as like little shorts and stuff like that, but I don't know yet, guys. I want to start doing those 3 favourite units, 3 favourite stratagems, 3 favourite this type of stuff again, but I might just turn it into shorts instead and do it that way. But I don't know yet. We'll wait and see. I don't like codex reviews. Yeah. And the reason why I don't like codex reviews is because I have had this book, I've been reading it for well over a month now. I don't think I'd love to revisit this in 3 months. We should do this perhaps more actually, but I think the problem we have with YouTube and the way that YouTube rewards content is if we did this, it wouldn't reward it and we wouldn't get great numbers. But what I'd love to do was revisit this book in 3 months and do this with every codex and go, we thought it was balanced and it was good, were we right or wrong? We thought it was broken, were we right or wrong? We thought it was dog shit, were we right or wrong, right? That'd be really nice to do. I'd love to. I won't really truly know. This is why I'm saying don't listen to influencers. I won't really truly know how good or bad this book is until maybe 2-3 times time when I play with it loads. Yeah. I'm taking it to the South Coast GT. And again, I'm not a particularly good player. I'm not a Manny Kima. I'm not a Rich Siegler. I'm not a Stephen Box. I'm not any of those people. I'm not those people when it comes to this. I will not be hitting top tables with this book. A broken book is as simple, right? I'm a competent player at Warhammer, but I'm not a good player, right? Yeah. How I know this isn't broken is I'm not top tabling with this book. If it's broken, I'm top tabling with it. I am. And I'm just competent. I'm not good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but let's not forget, right? A book can be the most physically broken auto-win army in the game. Brom's still only won 1 out of 5 games with broken Harlequins.
You're with broken Harlequins, and Never get a chance to catch the streams. You happy with your shiny book? CJ, I'm so happy, mate.
Yeah, so you can have the best army in the game, but skill level is important, Brom.
Yeah, I actually think the skill level is more important with this book. Yeah. Skill level with old Harlequins wasn't as bad, and he still lost 4.
And Brom wasn't losing on purpose to prove a point. He was trying. he was really trying.
Yeah. Right, we're going to jump into chat. I've seen you fidget a few times. Does that mean you want to go to the bathroom already?
I'm going for a wee.
Yeah.
I was going to go here.
Oh my God, look at Harborn. Look at Mr. The Vortex Games.
Where? A Thane!
A Thane! Oh. A new shiny Thane!
He's coming to look behind the curtain.
He is coming to look behind the curtain, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go here. I can't do the gifteds to start with because... So I'll wait for Joe Hopes for the 40 gifted that came through right. It's 50 gifted that came through right at the start. 51, 56, 57, 58, 60. We're on 63 members, chat. 63 members. I want to reinforce the message, though. Legitimately, I want to reinforce the message about make up your own mind for these things. I know it's significantly harder when the books come out at 35 quid or whatever they are, but I would urge you to spend time looking over the book yourself when you get your hands on it, or looking over your friend's book if he's got his hands on it, playing with it, playing against it before you make up your mind. I don't think you can ever actually make up your mind until you've got it on the tabletop and you've played it. And the thing is, in the world of Warhammer, with the number of factions that we have, the number of detachments that we have, and more importantly, the number of units that we have, theory's theory. Theory is theory, and you never actually know how it's going to play until you start playing that on the tabletop. And there are some very, very good players out there that theory and still get it wrong. They obviously, more often than not, get it right. I'd be very interested to know what the Art of War boys are saying about this. I haven't watched their content yet, but they're the people that I would probably listen to. They get more right than wrong, and they still, on occasion, have hot takes that I think, I don't agree with that. And on very rare occasions, I don't agree with their hot take, and I get proven to be right. Very rare occasions, I'm going to throw that out there. They are mostly right. They are normally the people that are right. And if I'm going to go and listen to someone for how good or bad a book is, they're the people that I'm probably going to listen to, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, I like the reasons. I hope I see a bloody Rainbow of Eldar list opposite me in the coming months. Not 500. Here's what some guy said is good. Bravestar. Interesting, right? Here's another thing that I think this new book does very, very well. A lot of stuff is good. A lot of stuff is good. A lot of stuff is viable. And they've pointed it so that you can't get all of the things that you think are good and all the things that you think are viable in a single list. There is not really a unit that I look at on the whole. Yeah, there's not really a unit that I look at on the whole that I think I definitely wouldn't ever take that. No, actually there isn't off the top of my head. I think everything's got a place. But you can't fit it all in. Quentin loved it, but no one over there thinks it's busted. If they don't say it's right, if Art of War say it's not busted, they're the people to listen to. Remember when Custodians came in tonight, everyone called it crap, then it came out and dominated, never listened to Reddit. It's not just Reddit, though, Limey Panner, is it? You know, I'm arguably damaging my own business here. Don't listen to YouTubers, for Christ's sake. Honestly. Anyway, thank you for all 380 people watching. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash all the magical YouTube buttons for us. Boop, there we go. Hit like button if you enjoy the content, you wonderful human beings. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. You can hit that bell notification icon if you want to be notified every single time we go live or drop a new video. How's the paint guide? Average. How's the lore? Good. How's the art? Beautiful. The lore isn't too dissimilar to previous Eldar codexes. It hasn't really changed load, but I won't want to ruin it, so give it a read. I love Eldar lore, and I can read the same stuff over and over again, so I am biased there. The paint guides are average. They're better than what 40k people have had previously in codexes, but they're not as good as what some of the older AOS battle tomes were like. The third edition AOS battle tomes, I think, really nailed it for painting guides, I reckon. Is there a unit, though, that you think would take in every list? I think that there's a couple, if I'm honest with you, Ginger Ninja. I think Eldrad has become an auto-take. Storm Guardians I really like, Drew. I really like Storm Guardians. 2 Flamers, 2 Melter Guns, sticky objectives. I like them. I think they're good. I like Storm Guardians. I've got a unit in my beachhead list, and they're not going away. Is there a unit that I think is auto-take? I very much like Fire Dragons. Fire Dragons rerolling damage against vehicles is nice. Stick them in a Falcon. They're incredibly good. I personally think Fugan is incredible. I don't know about an auto take though, but I think he's incredible. He also makes Fire Dragons better because he gives them an additional 6 inches of range, which is very, very nice, right? And I think Eldrad is potentially an auto take because now he's the source of gaining a CP every turn. So they took it away from the Autarch Wayleaper. Autarchs and Autarch Wayleapers now get captain rules, so you can reduce the cost of CP by 1. Autarchs and Autarch Wayleapers can now also join Aspect Warriors, which is very good. So you put wings on a Wayleaper, and you can now finally put in with Sweeping Hawks, which should have been a thing forever, by the way. Autarchs should have always been able to join Aspect Warriors. Now they can actually join Aspect Warriors, but they've lost the gain of CP if they're your Warlord. Now, if Eldrad's on the battlefield, he gains a CP, but obviously that's because he's lost there. You gain 3 Fate dice. So I think Eldrad is potentially an auto-take, if I'm honest with you, just because the CP... It's like, Doom's good anyway. Doom is already good with Eldrad. Eldrad's already decent with Doom, and Doom was already, for me, a reason to take him, even outside the extra Fate dice. Gaining a CP with him now, you saw people taking Eldrad for 3 Fate dice and Doom, and you saw people taking an Autarch Wayleaper for the extra CP. Eldrad does, not the Fate dice thing anymore because that's gone, but he does the CP and the Doom thing in one package. I think he's probably an auto-take, and I'm glad I've got one painted. You'll actually see a Liam painted model tonight.
Yeah.
Possibly. I am thinking about dropping Eldrad out tonight's list.
You're not running. What detachment? You're not running the new.
I'm going to run the. I
you done.
think I'm going to do the aspect one tonight because I was like, oh, you haven't painted the Swooping Hawks yet, and then I started putting the points in. You don't fit all the aspects in one list. This is my point.
Yeah.
I've had to go down to 5 Reapers, 5 Fire Dragons, 5 Spiders, 10 Banshees, 10 Scorpions, the Avatar. I've got 2 tanks and Eldrad, and I've basically run out of points.
Yeah. That's good though.
It's very good. Exactly. Yeah. It's very good, Joe.
One of the things I've noticed going in this edition, I don't like it, but you just can't take all the good stuff. You have to pick and choose what good stuff you take. Or if you just take good stuff, there's not much space for other stuff.
Yeah. Right, I waited for you to get back. I started going on a bit of a chat about something.
Did you do any super chats?
I did nothing, mate.
Oh, wow.
Roland Bain, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Roland Bain. I hope that you, like me, don't suffer an entire day of hot snakes, which is come out of your body like hot snakes.
Yeah. Stick Monkey, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Stick Monkey. I hope that the next event that you go to, you don't get sore feet and a bad back.
Strong.
Yeah.
Richard C, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships.
I hope, Richard C, that
hot snakes.
Has that finally kind of dawned on
no,
you?
I was trying to hold it together.
Yeah.
I can't. Sorry, Richard C, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships.
I hope that you tomorrow have a pizza party at work.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I can't really do sick. Everyone's doing aspects because aspects are the coolest, and we've just been given loads of new aspects. I can't do Guardian Host because I've got 1 unit of Guardians painted. I don't want to do Wraith Host yet because I've got 20 Wraith Blades painted. I've got 1 Wraith Lord half painted, 1 Wraith Lord painted, and 1 Wraith Knight half painted, and 2 Spirit Seers, 1 painted, 1 half painted. So I reckon I'll probably do Wraith Host maybe next week. Seer Council, I think I need more than my 1 Farseer, 1 Eldrad. Possibly.
You got a Seer Council.
I don't know. I look at the rules. The problem is with Seer Council is you have to pick units within range of Farseer to get the strats to work. So Paddy goes, just go charge your Seers with my Blood Angels that move rapidly and kill them. And I'm like, cool, that's game then.
Yeah.
I'm done there. I actually would like to play. I genuinely, what I might do is I might play Battle Host tonight. I might not play Aspect Host because everyone's doing it. I might play the Battle Host one, the first one, War Host, which is the new version of the Index attachment, which is all like movement shenanigans, because I really like the idea of that one. So maybe I'll do something different for you all, but yeah. Liz B, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Liz B. I hope that you get a free Big Mac next time you get a McDonald's drive-through, because they just hand you a bag, don't they?
You do, yeah.
Like they just chuck it in.
Yeah,
I did a drive-through a couple of weeks ago. Completely wrong order.
Yeah.
Although I wasn't complaining.
No, of course.
Because I had way more in it than I should have.
Yeah. And talk about Wee Man. Wee Man, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Wee Man. I hope that you have like loads of like English like lizard type creatures just come and live in your garden and around your house. Yeah.
Get rid of all the bugs and shit that you don't like.
Yeah. I'll get rid of the spiders.
Yeah. Spirit Conclave. Yeah, Spirit Conclave is... I'm excited mostly about 3 detachments. The first detachment... Well, actually 4. This is where the book is so good. So the old index I like because I love movement shenanigans. And I feel like movement shenanigans are always less feels bad than I point at your unit and delete it and there's nothing you can do about it. I feel like movement shenanigans always creates more of an interactive game. So I like that one. I love the idea of Wind Rider Host because I love Wind Riders. And I've been digging out old Wind Riders kits that I haven't built that I'm going to be painting Simhan colours because I love fucking Simhan. Wind Riders, Wind Rider Host, Simhan winning. So that's great. I love that one. And I'm not sad I got rid of the old army because it was battered. But I'm looking forward massively to the Aspect Host one because I fucking love Aspect Warriors, and now they're all in plastic. It's beautiful. And then I'm very excited about the Spirit Host. And if you know the army I started back in September last year, which was essentially 20 Wraiths, 2 Wraith Lords, 2 Wraith Knight Spirit Seers, like, that's fun. I don't think it might be... I think it's incredibly durable with decent damage output. I don't know if it's going to be quite competitive. You're going to have to sprinkle in fast units to make that a competitive army. Toxtrio, thank you for the €5. Do all the codex changes make the Grotmus detachment better? Because before it was, why even bother when you get the index? I would suggest that, actually, in my personal opinion, the Eldar Grotmus detachment still remains the worst out of all the codex, detachments they have access to.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad, though.
Yeah, it's just a bit shit.
Yeah,
I think they had to make it shit because I think they probably knew all 8 were good.
Yeah, the Grotmus one was a bit of an art. They're like, oh, what do we put in there? You know, how do we make this kind of function a bit?
Yeah.
Although what's interesting now is the Drakari Quins one got a bit better because the Drakari, the Quinn units are functionally more useful now.
Harlequin's got just flat better, I think.
Yeah.
Because they used to only get devastating wounds on the charge with Troop Master. Their melee weapons now just have devastating wounds.
Yeah.
And now they get an ability where they used to get +1 to wound on the charge. Now they get an ability every time they fight where you get +1 to hit, +1 to wound, or -1 to hit. You get to pick one of those 3.
Yeah.
You don't get all 3 of them. You get to pick one of those. So if you don't need that +1 to wound, you could just pick +1 to hit, or you could pick -1 to hit. Like, Harlequin's just got better, and their flip belts mean they can ignore all vertical distance.
Yeah.
So their flip belts actually do something now.
So I mean, does that mean the flip bikes still work on the bikes now then?
I haven't seen if they've got that same rule, but possibly.
I both
yeah.
like and despise these microphones, by the way.
The microphones sound better though, so just get used to it.
That's fine. I get that. Oh, I love that artwork. It's such great artwork.
Joe, it's so pretty. So Quins have finished paying for their sins of the past. I think they're in a nicer place now. I do.
Also, Solitaire got +1 wound.
Yeah,
so
it's 4 wounds
now.
Magic.
Yeah. I mean, he still gets killed by 2 wounds from a damage 2 gun, but
Yeah, he's better.
you know, he's much better versus damage 1.
Or
you know?
3.
Or 3. Yeah, versus damage 3. You reroll hit roll. +1 to wound.
Oh, real hit, sorry.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah.
Skyweavers.
Flip belts, right hand side. Have they got it?
No.
Under abilities.
No. You've got Acrobatic Grace. Each time an attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll.
Oh, they got the most one to hit back, okay. And then underneath?
No, nothing.
What's that rule there? Is it every use equipped with? Is that what it is?
They've got a shuriken cannon, star bolas, close combat weapon.
There's other things they've done as well, which I quite like. They've changed shuriken cannons from sustained to lethal, and then given sustained to scatter lasers.
I think they've
prefer
got
that.
an extra attack on the Zephyrglaive. I think they've gone from 3 to 4.
Am I getting a limited edition codex? I am, yes. But thankfully, this time around, we have this book from Games Workshop. So if Brom ever wanted to play elves, first things first, as I'd say no. If I then caved and let him, he'd be using this book right now. The only one who'd be able to play. I'll be honest with you. If I go to events, I'm probably taking this one with me. To be fair, I'll probably keep the limited edition one at home because limited edition.
It is really stripped out, isn't it? The Drakari.
Yeah, you get a lot less stuff now.
You get Archon,
Succubus.
Succubus is so bad now.
Yeah.
The problem is the 10th edition Succubus is paying for 9th edition Succubus, basically.
Alistair, so yeah, I honestly, I don't think the Grotmus attachment is worth running. Alistair C, thank you for the 5. Eldar just going to be a hammer in a meta full of nails. I don't think that's the case.
No,
they're a hammer.
They're gonna struggle versus like Gene Stealer Cult.
They're a hammer, but they're also themselves going to be a nail.
Yeah, like someone tips up to an event with 2 units of Banshees, 1 or 2 units of Dark Reapers, maybe like a unit of Fire Dragons, Eldrad stuff. What is that army going to realistically do versus 12 Baby Knights? 12
so again, I can think of a list right now that deals with 12 Baby Knights really, really easily, and then I pull my next opponent, and I've got War Horde Orcs.
Well,
I'm like, oh,
shit. If you're taking a balanced Eldar army that will do relatively well versus most things, at a tournament versus
So-
like 12 Chaos Baby Knights, you're like, cool, I'm in danger.
I maintain for an Eldar player to build a decent list in this particular book, then what they need to focus on is their movement and positioning when they're building their list, rather than can I kill 12 Baby Knights, can I kill 100 this, can I kill 100 that? Because I think that if you can at least make sure that you can strike and kill a couple of units, right? Because they've got the ability to do that, but you've got the movement shenanigans to place for secondaries, for objective capping, all that kind of stuff. That's how you're going to win games with this codex. And I think the raw damage output that this codex has isn't how they're going to win games.
No.
Tabling people in 2 turns because they've deployed terribly or because they've moved terribly isn't going to be how Eldar players win games necessarily. It's going to be their movement shenanigans. Because if you are relying on trying to table a person in 2 turns and you come up against an Art of War player or a Glasshammer player or something like that, you're not doing that against those. You just aren't. It's not going to happen. So then you need, and if you go, oh, I haven't killed everything, but I'm misplaced everywhere, and I've moved everywhere, and then I've died. Yeah, I'm now dead.
Mr. Evox is like, if I could play a simulation swarm on Thursday, no. I'll elaborate, but I don't have the models for it. You know, I don't have.
What's a simulation swarm?
It's the one with all like the feeder stuff, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we haven't got feeder stuff, have we yet?
Yeah, I've got 1 psychophage. End of list.
Yeah.
I don't have the stuff for it. Like I don't have Tervagon because I don't really like running gaunts. Really, I want to run like Horma gaunts, but then the Tervagon doesn't really support them. I've got they've just made the other version of the new big guy feeder, haven't they, as well?
Oh, the Norn Emissary.
The Norn Assimilator.
Yeah, I mean, the second word in that name is what gives it away, right?
Yeah, right. And I hate that model. Norn Emissary, love it. But the Norn Assimilator looks
derpy
as hell.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I'd love to if I had more stuff. Like the Tyranids, despite the fact that I've got literally thousands of points, I still don't have everything for yet. You know, I'd love to get there, but you know, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
and money.
Right, Nathan, thank you for the 10. So the Call of Broken, is this a knee jerk coming from an index that was lacking to a book that is actually pretty good, or is it strong but on par with better books? It's strong. I would argue it's probably close to being the strongest book in the game right now. But I think the Games Workshop's doing a much better job of balancing the game in general at the moment. I think the Call for Broken is knee-jerk from a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think it's knee-jerk from a lot of people also who don't understand the game properly.
What people are looking at are the units that got better. They're not looking at the units that lost.
Yeah. Like, Striking Scorpions, case in point, right? Striking Scorpions, for me, have been, and the reason why I pay it the 10 Striking Scorpions we've got first sent through is because for me, Striking Scorpions are an auto-take in every Eldar list, right? Infantry Scout. So Infiltrate, Scout, 7 inches. Right, with 4 attacks a Scorpion with sustained hits and devastating wounds.
Yeah,
mad good. And granted, dev wounds infantry only, not against monsters and vehicles, but infantry and other stuff. Right. So at that point, Scorpions auto take lost all the devastating wounds. All they get now is they get crits on 5s if they charge. So they've got objectively much worse than they were.
Yeah. They're only really good at killing 1 wound infantry.
Yeah, but because the thing is, though, putting them in an infiltrating position, which means they could get a charge off with sustained hits and dev wounds, was busted.
Yeah.
It was too good. So Scorpions were an auto take. Now, I look at Scorpions, and I still like them for their infiltrating and being able to screen out, but I'm like, are they auto take now? I'm not so sure. Maybe Rangers do the job better, because you get within 9 inches of them, they redeploy 6. So they screen, and then you get within range, and they move back. They might actually be a bit better at doing that job than Scorpions now.
Depends on the points.
But now it's like you could take one or the other.
Yeah.
Which I think is good, ultimately. Right?
Well, realistically, if you want 5 bodies to screen at the start of the game, you want them to be as cheap as possible.
You do, yeah.
So you don't want to spend loads of points on an aspect unit when you can put cheap Rangers on the table.
Which now becomes probably Rangers over the Scorpions.
Yeah.
Avatar spam is dead, no Wraith Bricks, no auto rerolls, but still elf haters be hating.
Would you call it spam when it's 2 models?
Well, it's the only 2 they've got.
Yeah. Is that spam?
No, but you can't do it now.
Oh, okay. I'd say you could have Catan spam. Yeah.
on sandwich.
A can of spam.
In a sandwich,
Yeah. A can of spam.
Yeah. Hellstorm video is pure clickbait. He laughs about the video. Yeah, but that's Mikey B being Mikey, right? It's what he does. We love him dearly, but Mikey B being Mikey. So he puts clickbait out there. He knows he's putting clickbait out there. He does it on purpose. He talks about just the fact that he clicks bait on purpose, and it's up to you whether you click on it or not. But we love Mikey, so to get that out there first, right? Zin, thank you for the $10. All I can say is thank you to whoever was in charge of the clowns. My Reaper's Wager Drakari lists are so much fun to build now. I can see the new design lead team's philosophy all over this book. I agree. And actually, that detachment from Grotmus, the Drakari one, with Harlequins now is very compelling.
Oh, I really like
actually tempted to run that in the next 2 weeks, despite the fact it's a Grotmus attachment, but using the new Quinn's rules.
Yeah.
Because that's very good now, I think. You know? Very, very interesting. Zin, thank you for the $10. You're an absolute legend. You're a hero. We love you all. 3 Amigo Studio, thank you for the $5. Howdy, gents. How would you build a Wraith army with the new Judgment tokens with killing out Psychic characters? So I've talked about this a bit. This is one of those, again, on paper, you look at it and I think it looks incredibly good. When you start to put that in practice in terms of actually putting a list down, it becomes more difficult. Because what I want to be doing at that point is I want to be spamming things like Warlock Skyrunner single models, Warlocks on their own, Spirit Seers, because what happens is, if any Wraith unit is within 12 inches of a Psyker unit, it gets +1 to hit, doesn't have to be a Spirit Seer. If any enemy unit kills an Eldar Psyker unit, your Wraiths then get +1 to wound against that unit for the rest of the battle. So you want single Psyker models that then fly out there, keep in range to give you a +1, or if they die, so you're like, hey, this is my Psyker that gives my Wraiths +1, and he's not lone op, so you can kill him. But if I'm not giving them +1 to hit and you've killed him, you're then giving me +1 to wound.
Do you have to be visible with the unit that you put the ability on? Like his auras is not visible.
Just within 12, yeah.
Standing behind a wall.
Yeah, but you want them to die because then they get +1 to wound. Do you see what I mean? So you want throwaway Psychic characters. So if you don't kill them, I get +1 to hit. If you do kill them, I get +1 to wound.
Do you know what's really good for throwaway characters in that case? Bike Warlocks.
Exactly.
Individual Bike Warlocks.
That's what I just said. That's what I just said. Chat.
Be free. Be free.
This is when you can tell he's not listening.
I'm not listening. I'm reading this and trying to stop myself from going to the toilet. So, you know,
Hemlock is a Wraith construct and a character and a Psyker. Yeah, so he's in range of himself, but is it not a Psychic character? Are you going to the bathroom again?
It again, yeah.
Joe's having a bad day for the bathroom chat.
A bad tum-tum day.
I'm letting him off today because he's having a bad day in general. Okay, let's have a look at this Hemlock Wraith fighter, shall we? Because I haven't looked at the Hemlock Wraith fighter because I don't look at planes. So the rule is called Psychic Guidance, and you'll find it on the Wraith construct data sheets, which the Hemlock Wraith fighter doesn't have. Psychic Guidance for Wraith Blades, and you need to pay attention here as well, chat, right? Psychic construct for Wraith Blades and Wraith Guard reads the same. While this unit is within 12 inches of one or more friendly Eldari Psyker models, models in this unit have a leadership characteristic of 6+, and each time a model in this unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. Okay. The Wraith fighter does not have that rule. It doesn't have Psychic Guidance. However, the Wraith Lord does have Psychic Guidance, but it's different. While this model is within 12 inches of one or more friendly Eldari Psyker models, improve the ballistic skill and weapon skill characteristics of weapons equipped by this model by 1, and it has a leadership characteristic of 6+. Now, we have the errata. As far as I'm aware, it hasn't changed. They're both done differently, which does mean that if you put Guide on a single Wraith Lord from your Farseer on foot, the Wraith Lord then gets +1 to hit from Guide and +1 ballistic skill, meaning he will hit on 2s, or +1 to hit from Guide and +1 weapon skill, meaning he will hit on 2s. However, they've made the Wraith Guard +1 to hit instead of +1 ballistic skill, because then you cannot stack those things, which means the best they can get to is hitting on 3s when they're a unit of 5. It's like they've thought about it. Right? Conclaves, hopefully with Farseers, is fixed. It is fixed. Popping 4 dirty strength 7 d6+2 torrents as Overwatch, kill it and you get a debuff, ignite it, and it wrecks infantry. Keep him off the caffeine. I think he's eaten something that's not agreed with him yesterday. So I'm letting him off. He's having a bad time today. All right. But there's little things like that I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's little things like that which I think have made them. It looks like they've actually thought about how they put this book together, which I'm quite impressed by, on the whole. So yeah, I think you want a few bricks of. I think you want 3 or 4. Maybe 5-man Wraith Blade units with the axes and shields, because those shields are still incredibly useful. That being said, the swords are now 2 damage, and that 2 damage makes them much better, right? Well, Wraith Lord is easier to kill than the 5 units of 5. That probably, yeah. I think you maybe want a couple of gun units. You want a couple of Wraith Lords in there, and maybe even a Wraith Knight. The Wraith Knight with sword and shield, I was very excited about the fact that he was sub 400 points when we first saw the codex. He's not. He's actually 420 points on the Uniform Field Manual. But 420 points for a sword and shield Wraith Knight is decent.
Yeah.
Very, very good, I think.
Do we know if... I haven't looked at the points. Do you know if they've kept any of their Forge World units?
They haven't kept many of their Forge World units.
No?
No. They also... you also have to... So, like, the Wraith Seer's gone. There's loads of stuff that's gone.
Have they kept big stuff?
The Phantom and the Revenant, I think, has been kept. That's about it.
What about big tank?
No, gone. All gone, mate. So the other thing I would say is the Spirit Seers now are aura characters. Game Switch, we're going a little bit back to aura characters. If they're within 3 inches of a friendly unit, they get blown up. But they're aura characters. And they can give out a couple of cool auras. Or they can give out some cool abilities. They can still return bodyguard units back to Wraith Guard, but if they're within range of a Wraith Lord or a Wraith Knight, they can instead heal it for D3, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
You still probably want at least 2 of those in, to be fair. So can Banshees kill a 10-man Space Marine squad on the charge? 10 Banshees can. 5 could, but they'd have to fucking hit and wound with everything.
Are they AP3?
They're AP... I think they might be on to AP2 now.
If they're AP2, then it's not guaranteed.
They were AP3, weren't they? They might still be AP3 with Banshee Blades. Banshee Blades are actually compelling on Autarchs now as well, where they weren't before. You would only ever put the Starglaive on them. Now I quite like the Banshee Blade because it gets anti-infantry 3+. They're AP... Banshee Blades are AP2 now. The Executioner's AP3.
I mean, they can. You know, it's like... They either do or they don't, you know? Because if you get really lucky with your hitting and your wounding, your opponent still has a 5-up save.
Yeah. Well, if you take the Executioner, it goes to AP3, 3 damage at strength 6, but he's got 3 attacks because he's the Exarch. He's not guaranteeing it.
But if we've all got the same sword, what, you got 10, you got 20 attacks, maybe hit 18 times, say 17, you know, a low guess. Wounding on 3s. Maybe 12 wounds. You know, your opponent might fail all of them. But
they could also, out of 12, they could also save 4.
Yeah.
And then only 8 have died.
I mean, there won't be many left, right? Either way, they'll either all be dead or there'll be 1 or 2 left.
But again, if you're 10 Space Marines, 10 Banshees going into melee, like if you're making the charge as a Space Marine player, that you're an idiot to start with, because you want to be gunning a few of them down before you do it. Ultimately, don't you?
Yeah.
You know.
And also you got to think, right, if you charge 2 units of Banshees into 2 units of Space Marines, you might kill the first one, you might not, but you can almost guarantee your opponent's going to interrupt and batter 10 Banshees.
Yeah.
Like, because 10 Intercessors is what, 30 attacks?
Yeah.
Ish,
yeah.
30, maybe 40, yeah, 30 attacks.
Yeah. Again, if it's Intercessors, what are you doing? If it's Assault Intercessors, even more again, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if it's Intercessors, you ought to be going, I'm going to use my extra shots and gun half of you down before I even get there.
10 Assault Intercessors.
In fact,
really
I think 10 Boggo Intercessors with bolt rifles, if they get into range to shoot Banshees, they probably delete the unit without even getting into combat.
Yeah.
To be fair. Simran, thank you for the 5. I think it's a good balanced codex, but reference terrain. What are your thoughts on most tournaments? House rule in ground floors, closed doors, and windows.
I mean, pretty much all tournaments.
Yeah, I've basically played that for the last 2 editions.
Yeah.
We're pretty used to it now.
I don't think I've been to a tournament since 7th edition that's had you can see through ground floors. As
a player who prefers melee over shooting, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, there are some bits of terrain where if there's like a new bit of terrain where it's like 3 inches wide, it's about 6 inches long with some little bits of ruins.
You just described me.
Where if you stand in it, you could be seen because it's quite open. It means you can move through it. But if you're still on the other side of it, it's blocking instead of the big L shape. So I think I don't think there's any tournaments nowadays that have you can see through the ground floor.
Yeah.
Most of them don't even let you see through the whole building.
Yeah.
Some tournaments say, "Oh, if you're on the top floor, you can see."
Well, the other thing
the
as
middle
well
floor,
is
there's no windows.
the other thing you have to realise is a lot of tournaments will have different terrain sets on each table.
Yeah.
And by just flat saying ground floor blocks means you're making every table the same, which I think is good, because if you rely on the actual specific terrain that you're using, some of them can have lots of windows in the ground floor, some of them don't, and it creates an imbalanced game to game. So I actually think also from a balanced perspective for tournaments, so that players can't complain that, well, my table's much more open because of all the windows and doors, and your table's much more closed because it hasn't got windows and doors. I think we'll just remove that ambiguity and say ground floors blocks. I think it's fine, Right, Rum O'Clock, thank you for the 5. I am not a skilled player. I'm not a skilled Eldar player. Super keen to run a Court of the Unking Army. Fully expect to lose hideously and enjoy every moment of it. The thing is, Rum O'Clock, right? I think the book also is going to reward repetitions. The more you get used to what a Banshee unit can kill and what a Fire Dragon unit can kill and what a Reaper unit can kill and what will kill them in return, the more you play that, I think you're going to get rewarded, and I think you're going to get used to it, and I think you're going to end up making better decisions, and that's only a positive thing, I think, for me. Yeah. I like a game and a codex that rewards a player from sticking with his army and not just jumping army to army to army to army to army. I prefer that game, and if I come up against a player, if I come up against a Paulie, right, who's Sky Serpent on social media, who's played Drakari for as long as I've known him and has only ever played Drakari.
Yeah.
If I come up against him and he beats me with his Drakari, I don't feel bad about it. No. He's not just pivoted into them because they're good. Yeah. He's played them and played them and played them and played them and played them. So I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah.
If I get beat by Joe with his Chaos Space Marines, you've played them forever, when they're shit and when they're good. I don't care because you keep playing that army. And I think this codex is going to probably offer people that same opportunity to continue to do repetitions and continue to get better. Yeah. So I think you are going to have fun with it. I think you could find that you end up doing okay with it as well if you keep going. Zodiac, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you. I hope that your family invests in flushable wipes.
Ooh, we like them today, aren't you? They're lifesaver today.
Honest to God. Whoever left those behind when we did the Fanes weekend, thank you. Because my posterior thanks you.
Yeah. Tank, thank you for the 1 gifted membership. Sam, thank you for the 2. Without saying numbers, are the errata points up? I don't think so. No, not officially. I think they're officially up.
No fishes here.
We have them because you nowadays cannot make a detail or interested conclusion on any codex that's released as a leak, because you're looking at codex points that almost never stay the same. And if when the Minotaur and Field Manual does drop, you see the amount of green and red for up and down that's on that page, you'll realise that 2/3 of the army has changed in points from the codex. So people go, this is stupid. Shining Spears are busted at 90 points. Yeah. That's why they're 120 now. So, I would... They're not up yet, and that's why sometimes I'm saying to people, just wait. Let's wait to see what happens when the book comes out. Craig, thank you for the Japanese yen. Already crafted up 4 different lists, each with different detachments and multiple different units. I got to say, I think that GW really hit out the park with these detachments in flavour and power. Strong agree. Yeah. The flavour specifically for me is, I think what we've done, because everyone's so obsessed by the power and the damage and the fact that they might be broken because they're Eldar. A lot of people have actually glazed over the fact that, narratively speaking, these detachments are beautifully well done.
What's odd, right? And I hope you do the same with a different outcome, right? This time, because obviously the last 2 weeks I ran New Guard, right? So I ran narrative-ish lists that represent the detachment I was using. Yeah. The detachment options in the Guard Codex are really, really good, but people complain that I wasn't running just the broken army.
Yeah, I'm
right.
Go on.
And I hope that you do the same as you run armies that lean into the detachment that you're doing to show off that detachment.
I can definitely lean into the aspect host attachment.
Yeah.
I can definitely lean into the what was index but is no longer recognizable as index attachment, because that just impacts anything.
Yeah.
I will, if I get my paint on tomorrow and Sunday, I think I can definitely lead into the Wraith Host attachment, and then I'm going to struggle to read into another unless I just do like Harlequins or something.
I think the Harlequins would be good to show off.
Yeah. So I can do 4 different detachments. The shame of it is the one I want to lean into, which is Wind Riders. We'd need 6 or 7 units of Wind Riders to be painted. I don't think either of us have even got those at the moment. So and I wouldn't want to put that on you either. But yeah. I think they did knock it out of the park. And I think a lot of people have glazed over the fact that narratively, the Spirit host, the Wind Rider host, the Aspect host are just very well done. Very, very well done. Ockigdor, thank you for the $5. Do you think they finally got the hang of balance between units, detachments, and army rules? Will we get this in other books? I wouldn't like to say yes because it's Games Workshop.
Yeah.
But I hope so.
They're really good at coming up with a good idea, doing it once, and then forgetting about it forever.
I have had conversations and meetings recently, and I think that the main rules guy, the new guy, is starting to actually finally get his hands on things.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see things start to settle because of those things. And I'm very positive about the future of 40k right now. That's about as much as I can say. So I'd like to think that we're going to start to see more and more, but it's Games Workshop. I wouldn't be surprised if the next book comes out and it's wildly different to this one, and we go, what were you thinking? The last one was so good.
Yeah.
And then the next one comes out and it's like this one, and you're like, oh, wow, hang on. So we'll see. Because
Yeah.
the problem is the release order isn't always the order that they're written in. We know that from playtesting.
Yeah.
So the next book that comes out might have been written before this one. You never know. Tattooed Zoologist, thank you for the 5. Hello from the Joe Fan Club Cambridge. Now up to 9 members.
9!
At our local AOS group. We donate a super chat every time Joe is on an afternoon chat.
Love you long time.
Thank you, Cambridge's Joe Fan Club.
Thank you. Love you all.
You're a legend. Kalarian, thank you for the
great.
2. Balance Codex. Shills, obviously. Of course we are.
Well, that's how you get all the best stuff in it.
Yeah, I mean, as an influencer, you can't win either. Because you say it's bad and you're told off for being negative. You say it's great, you're told off for being a shill.
Yeah.
This is why I tell you, go and make up your own minds. So, who knows? Prudence, thank you for the 5. As a towel player, the number of detachments is the biggest feels bad, but Games Workshop gave us Grotmus. Maybe they'll give us more detachments to the earlier books. So, I said to you earlier, as a thing, that I understand why Custodian's only got 4 detachments, and I do. I do not understand why Tower only got 4. For me, that doesn't make sense. There's a lot of units in the Tower book.
Yeah, like you could have a stealth detachment, a crisis suit detachment, a firewall detachment, a crew detachment, an ethereal detachment, a tank detachment.
Yep. There's loads of things you could do.
There's those things you could do.
An auxiliary detachment. Yeah, 100%. But they did 4, and I don't know why they only did 4. I think they could have done minimum 6 for Tau. They've got a relatively big model range. I don't think there's any reason not to do 6 for Tau, apart from just I don't really care. It's a bit lazy. If Eldor are going to get 8 and Space Marines are going to get 8, or whatever Space Marines got 7, Tau should have at least got 6.
Do you reckon what comes first, detachment or the rules, the unit rules? So do they write all the unit rules first and then do detachments, or do they have an idea of how many detachments they're going to do and then write the data sheets?
I'd think the data sheets come first,
Yeah.
and then the detachment text into the data sheets. And if I was going to be the one writing it, that's how I would do it.
Yeah, and then like, do you reckon because the data sheets, the attachments probably come last, it's probably a time management problem? Because you don't have enough time to write more.
Maybe.
Given a shorter schedule, or the people that write the codexes just don't care about the army they're writing about.
The Imperial Guard attachment for infantry and transports would be great for Tau. I don't think we need any more breaches shotguns getting out Devilfish.
No, I've
do
had
we?
enough of those.
But you aren't wrong.
Yeah.
Ash, thank you for the 2. How are Corsairs in the new book? Any Exodites? No Exodites. And I haven't read Corsairs because no one cares, Ash. Every time you ask me about Corsairs in the new book, I'm going to not read it for another 2 weeks.
Well, they got one less, haven't they? Wee.
Are they?
Red Uriel's gone, isn't
Uriel? Yeah, he's disappeared now.
he? Yeah.
Void Scarred and the other one, Void Reavers, I don't think they're as good as they were. I think they're a bit weaker now.
Illic? He's
British
gone.
Night Spear, yeah.
Yeah, he was a Exodite winning.
I don't think I'm not sure.
Uriel was the
Uriel
king
was
of-
Exodites. Uriel was Eandon.
Was he?
Yeah.
Maybe it's. I think it's Illic. One of the characters was a leader of dweebs.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Ash paid for a box of Corsairs and he keeps asking me about them. So I want to get them built and painted because they're fucking cool. But at the moment, with all these new detachments, they're not high on the list of priorities. Christian, thank you for the 1 gifted membership. Kaz, thank you for the 5. Broken. Remember when Necron Shatass was broken for approximately 3 weeks before it didn't tickle the top end at LVO? Pepperidge Farm members.
Yeah. But that's one of the great things about Games Workshop at the moment. I would also say is that if it is broken, they do fix it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're a little bit slow, but they do fix it.
Yeah, well, But even then, like, if you'd have listened to what everyone said about that Necron detachment, changing 2 strats to 2 CPs wouldn't have been enough to calm it down. But it didn't tickle the top at LVA.
Yeah.
It didn't. It was fucking all Space Marines.
Well, what would have happened, things that happened is that detachment came out and it was broken for ages, and then it became slightly harder to run because you had to take specific characters. And what normally happens then is good players go, or top people that want to win go, it's too much effort, take something else.
So if you take the Void Guard with a Wayseeker, you do get the Psyker keyword for the Wraith Host attachment. Yes. But no, you still have the Aldari keyword as well. And I think Wraiths for Witch Seekers, for the Wraith stuff, you need to be within... so for Psychic Guidance, within 12 inches of one or more friendly Aldari Psyker models. That's model specific. So you can't spread them all out. It still has to be a range of the model. And for the Spirit Host attachment, Ghosts of the Webway, Spirit Conclave, Asiani Psyker models from your army have the following ability. And if I go back to the Void people, they don't have Asiani. Yes, they do. They have Asiani. But Harlequins don't have Asiani. They have Harlequins. So you can't use a Shadow Seer, for example, in Spirit Host to get the Spirit Host buffs. Right, cool.
What about the plane? The Hemlock.
It has Psycho, yeah. But... Okay.
I saw someone earlier asking about it, and I was like...
so the plane has Psyker. So if you are within... Does it have character? So if you're within 12 inches of the plane, if it has character, which I
doubt it will does. For a plane, because it's not... It's like things like lictors are low not, but not characters.
Aldari fly... So the spirit thing... So if you're a Wraith Guard, you have to be within 12 inches of one or more friendly Aldari Psyker models. It's a friendly Aldari Psyker model, so you can fly a Hemlock next to Wraith Guard to give them +1 to hit, right? But it doesn't get the benefit itself. And if you go into... I wonder. This is interesting, actually. If you go into Spirit Host... Boop. Boop. Some of the artwork in this, by the way, is beautiful.
Oh, it's stunning.
Aldari Psyker models from the army have the following ability. While a friendly Wraith Blade, Wraith Guard, Wraith Lord unit from the army is within 12 inches, it has Battle Focus. So it gives out Battle Focus as well, which is quite cool. And if it's destroyed, then your Wraiths can go ham at it as well, which is quite nice. Brandon, like I say, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you. I hope that the next army's worth of models that you build using plastic glue, the glue doesn't squidge out the side, and then you like touch it with your thumb, and it just makes this weird gooey thumb imprint that ruins the plastic.
Nice.
And bugs the shit out of me.
Well, fam. Lockie says, as someone who's still only played a handful of games, never played a tournament, when you're submitting lists for tournaments, do you have to pick a detachment and stick with that as well? Depends. Up until list submission deadline, you can chop and change what you're taking as many times as you want. Submit it, change your mind, change your mind, change your mind. After list submission deadline, you then are not allowed to change your mind without speaking to the TO. The likelihood is the TO is going to say no. If you change it after the fact, you'll probably get carded. So once you've picked your detachment, you stick with it.
Yeah, because like the thing is that like what tends to happen is that most TOs tend to, once the deadline's done, everyone's lists are in. And obviously, if you're late getting your list in, you might get carded or whatever. And then what they tend to do is then they show the lists. So if the tournament the TO shows all the lists once they're all submitted, and you go, oh, I bought the wrong detachment, they're probably going to be like, that's on you.
Harbor, we did say thank you so much for becoming a Thainter. Make sure you get yourself a WhatsApp your legend. Ginger, thank you for the 5. I have the Eldar Combat Patrol and a normal Autarch. Would it be worth me picking up the new Combat Patrol as a next step? Yeah. Dire Avengers, good. Warp Spiders, good. Although the Dire Avenger models are a bit old and
I
dirty.
was going to have a bit of a gripe about them.
Spirit Seer, good. 5 Wraith Blades or Guard, good.
I have the minor gripe about the new Combat Patrol, and that is the Dire Avengers. Right.
The new Combat Patrol stinks of all of our new aspects are beautiful and they're going to sell. Which ones won't? Our Avengers. Let's put them in the box.
So we didn't upgrade these models, and we need to get rid of the ones that we got because no one's going to buy individual boxes anymore.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, I don't like the Dire Avenger models really either. Although I looked at some recently that were posted on Instagram by Darren Latham, and I was like, well, actually they're quite nice. But then I realised they were painted by Darren Latham, which is probably why they look quite nice.
Well, you converted the heads, didn't you?
I just took the heads from Dire Avengers and stuck them on Guardian bodies, apart from the Exarchs, who I gave the tabards and the back banner, which I converted.
Don't Dire Avengers have like a weird, like
they're supposed to have a little.
thing on
They're
their
supposed to have a
shoulder?
little sight come over their shoulder, and they're supposed to also have a sight on their guns.
Yeah.
I didn't put them on. You don't need them. So Dire Avenger heads, banners on the Exarchs, paint them blue.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. I'd do that. Yeah. Because
that being said, they're not terrible models. They're not the worst in the world.
they're not awful, but I think the problem is like their scale's a bit off now compared to all of it.
Yeah, they look a lot. It's only because their helmets are so big. They are even remotely close to being the right size next to Guardians.
Yeah.
Guardians just look so much nicer and more dynamic, which is why mine have all gone into being Dire Avengers because Aspectos, isn't it? Evan, thank you for the one gifted. So yeah, I think picking that box up is a good idea. By the way,
It's worth getting.
You then have a Farseer, 10 Guardians, 6 Wind Riders, 5 Wraith Guard or Blades, 10 Dire Avengers, 5 Warp Spiders, and a Spirit Seer. That's a great start to an army.
Yeah.
I think it's really good, right? Evan, thank you for the one gifted. Stick Monkey, thank you for the 5. Cork Fun for Joe's arse. Think you can only buy bags of hundreds from Bezos Market. It still won't be enough.
You can get like individuals off eBay.
Yeah. And then Evan, thank you for the 5. Is it worth me to buy the Nexus Prime mission deck? Do you think they're closer to the mission deck than it is less than 6 months? I think summertime for the next mission deck because it's supposed to be annually, isn't it?
Yeah, and we got the last ones in June, July time.
Yeah, so I think 56, 57, 58, 59, 64 members, Joe.
I mean, if they're available to buy, I think it's worthwhile. Like if you don't have ITC battles or whatever it's called on the app's really, really good. The only downside to the app is sometimes, as in the ITC battle ones, it's really good, but some information is missing. So having the cards as a backup is quite helpful. Or what me and Tom sometimes do when we play,
Finger each other.
yeah, is we use the cards, the decks whilst we're playing, and then once we draw the card, we then put it into the app which one we've selected instead of randomizing it.
That's what I do at table.
Yeah.
But I also do it at the table because I prefer shuffling the deck, giving my opponent the deck to cut the deck, and then pulling in front of him. I prefer doing it that way because I just feel like it just removes any ambiguity as to whether it's been. I've seen people that have gone, right, so I've got Secure No Man's Land. Like, oh, that's really good, isn't it? And I've got Extend Boundlines. Oh, look at that. As if that was the one you got in turn 2.
Yeah.
How lucky was that after you pressed your phone 8 times? So I don't like the random draw on your phone.
Yeah.
I like the cards.
I like using I've used the app. Normally, I'm gonna be honest, I get my opponent to score all the time, and if they need to cheat to win, then they obviously want that win more than I do. But I've taken a tablet that I've kind of had on the end of the table, so it's nice and big, so that my opponent can see it. So I'm quite clearly
that's also fine. 100%.
doing this.
Absolutely. It's also great.
If you can get hold of the cards, getting hold of the cards is great for like just one-off games, you know? Just fun games, pick-up games. It's great.
Also, there's nothing to stop you from playing that mission deck in 12 months' time.
Yeah.
So it might be there's a new mission deck comes out at summer, and we play that for 6 months, and you go, I actually fancy playing some Pariah Nexus. I actually think Pariah Nexus is a decent mission deck. Is that the current one?
Yeah, Pariah Nexus is good.
Yeah.
Leviathan was...
Not the best.
I think that it also struggled from the fact that the game was a bit all over the place.
Yeah, I think maybe if the game, if all the factions and stuff were in their current place with Leviathan, it wouldn't have been so bad.
Yeah.
More enjoyable, 100%. So the thing is, if you get all 3 mission decks, because they're not particularly expensive, you can play them whenever. So, right, anyway, I think we're done.
Yeah.
We only made it to 64 members, half an hour over schedule.
You mean 40k players cheat? Not all of them.
Yeah.
Not all of us.
No.
But like, I had this great moment where I did a tournament and I used I had my tablet up. Well, I know my opponent had their tablet up and they were pressing all the buttons, and then they lost by 2 points. And they're like, oh, so they had to go back every turn to make sure that they'd scored themselves right.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it had that weird situation where you're like, oh, I scored this, and I'm like, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Because you input it.
Yeah.
So having it both open for both players instead of using your phone kind of thing does make it a lot more less easy to cheat, but then it also means that by having one person score it, you're like, well, I don't care.
I don't care enough.
So me and Paddy have talked about this a couple of times where we get to a stage with some people that it's like quite clearly you want this more than I do. And we're like, we'll just end the game by just pushing our models in the middle of the table and just get tabled.
I don't. I'll call out blatant cheating or people behaving like a dickhead because I think that's worth calling out. But I think for if it's half an inch that I'm like, I don't care at that point. If they're moving their models like Brom does, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
If you're front to back in, on your measuring,
I'm not that bothered by that.
No.
That doesn't really bother me all that much, because I like to assume. Perhaps mistakenly, I like to assume that they're not purposely trying to get an advantage here. They're just playing casually and they're enjoying themselves. And I like to assume the best of people. There are times where you're like, no, I'm not going to put up with this.
Yeah,
I'm not happy about this at all. So I'm gonna say something now because you're blatantly just fucking taking the piss.
All I want from my opponent is just not be a dick.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I really want my Friday game at Beachhead just to be me and my opponent. Our command points are baby Guinness shots.
I'm into that. By the way.
I really want to do it, but I'm worried that gouty piss feet means I won't be able to stand for the next week as I consume what is essentially 15 shots in one game.
I think you'll be all right, mate.
They won't be going out drinking afterwards because I'll be going home to sleep. You all right?
Yeah.
You're pulling your face.
I've been invited by YouTube to Zurich. Join us in Zurich on the 11th and 12th of March for the city's first YouTube creator collective for 2 days.
Sure, Switzerland?
The invite-only event is an opportunity to meet the engineers, product managers, and executives who shape the platform, explore new features, learn insider insights, and connect with fellow creators.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Is it Switzerland?
YouTube will sponsor your...
I don't know geography great.
YouTube will sponsor your travel and accommodation during the dates of the event.
Is this a direct email from YouTube? Or is this you just have to send us £1,000 to this bank account?
No. This is from YouTube.
Yeah?
It looks like. I'm not sure if I believe it, though. Reply to YouTube.
Do you want to do this after the stream?
No. No reply.
Thank you, Christian Laboanowitz.
Well, first of all, we say a huge thanks to Autark Ava for becoming a member.
Yeah.
And putting us on 65.
Thank you, Autark.
And it's an Autark, therefore amazing.
Mm. Do you have wings, jump generator, or bicyclette? Or legs? I suppose all of them have legs. Do you move by the medium of feet? Blatantly taking the piss. That's worth $5. Thank you. I mean, that's the only reason we exist in this world. We're just professional beggars taking the piss out of everyone.
Exactly, yeah.
And War Boss Benny, oi mates, what do you think about stratagems being a one-time use each game to help balance it out? Thanks for the content.
So I think that you can't do that with this edition because there's too many things in there about -1 strat or Lord of the Sea or gain a CP and all that kind of stuff. So the game is built around allowing or being able to use stratagems multiple times. But in a future edition, I 100% like the concept of you deck build your strats and they're one use only or whatever, or you get 6 because of detachment and they're one use only, but they're a bit more powerful.
I think they also need to fix army rules at the same time. So not all stratagems are created equally, but also some stratagems are fundamentally the only way that you could play your army successfully. I'd argue that for Tyranids, Invasion Fleet is their really only good viable detachment, and that's because it has access to a 5-up field no pain strat that literally just keeps you on the table long enough to potentially win a game.
Yeah, exactly. So I think in a different edition, the concept of having if you've got 6 powerful stratagems and every stratagem is once per battle only. Things like interrupt and stuff like that being once per battle makes the game completely changes the dynamic of the game. At the moment, I think strats being able to be spammed, for example, anything that does mortal wounds. So not just grenade, anything that does mortal wounds. So the Wraiths have got one where they can charge and do mortal wounds. Anything that does mortal wounds as a stratagem, fights first or interrupt, heroic intervene, all that kind of stuff. Like those sorts of things, I actually really like the idea of them being once per battle. So once they've used it, you're like, oh, I can calm down now. I don't have to worry about you having to be able to interrupt me, for example. But I do think it doesn't work with the current version of the game. I think you have to do a bit of a rewrite in places. So, thank you, Orthark Ava, as well, for the Norwegian Corona. Refreshing to hear a fair take on the Codex. Well, people have suggested it's not a fair take because I'm an Eldar fan. I think it's a fair take.
Oh, I mean, I'm here as a non-bias, but because I really like Drukhari. Like, I like Eldar, and I said to them, like, I'm not fussed about playing them, but I just kind of want to paint them. But Drukhari is my army, and I do think the Eldar, despite what someone was saying earlier, I actually think now Drukhari have more of a chance into Eldar. Right? I think they were a good trade-off army anyway into each other, because it's just loads of toughness 3 1-wound models fighting each other. But I think Drukhari have more of a chance now because of the mass loss of dev wounds across the board. I think it's really good.
Yeah. CJ says, can I still get on the New Year's resolutions? Yeah, DM me, dude. You can. It's fine. I've got a spreadsheet saved. And then Colton D, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
I hope.
I thought you just frozen for a minute.
I hope that your next opponent at a tournament brings 15 shots for you each to do.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
But like shots that you like I had someone try and give me shots of tequila. I don't like tequila.
No.
Literally, I put it in my mouth and my body was like, no, it's coming out now.
Yeah.
And I tried to swallow it. I was like,
I don't mind tequila, but I can't do Sambuca.
I can't do that either now. Yeah. Same thing. Goes in mouth and my body's like, bleh, be gone. Horrible stuff.
There we go. I think I'm pissed off on 70 members, chat. It means that tonight you've only got 130.
The Bic also, I think, does 2 for 1 on cocktails as well.
Does it? I think he did
I
last
have a
time.
fruity weekend, I think. Fruity cocktails for Joe.
Yeah. Joe needs a hat or shit that is a loading symbol. I mean, shit's probably more relevant right now, Keith, to be fair.
A shirt.
Yeah.
That is a hat.
However, need to go get some food and finish off our competitive practice game.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Hopefully you've enjoyed this chat about New Codex Eldar. If you have enjoyed it and you are looking forward to New Codex Eldar, we are live this week and next week with much Eldar Big WoW content, specifically our games on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So at 7:30 every Tuesday and Thursday we do a live game of Warhammer. Sometimes we do AOS and 40k. When it's preview time, like now, we do all Warhammer 40k. We've got 4 games of Craftworld Eldar coming up. I say Craftworld Eldar. Some of it might be Harlequins. Who knows? Some of it might even be Yunari. Actually, I haven't got any Yunari characters painted, so it won't be Yunari. But we've got 4 games of new Eldari coming up over the coming weeks. I've got Paddy tonight for Blood Angels. I've got you on Thursday for Tyranids. I've got Brom next week. I think he says Orcs. I think I've got you as well again, maybe.
I think I agreed saying guard.
Yeah.
Tonight will be interesting versus Paddy because he has 0 chill.
Yeah, well, I think he wins, and then everyone goes, "Oh, well, this codex's so broken, but you lost."
This is where Paddy turns up with 30 assault instances with jump packs, just dev wounds.
This is where I play really hard with good units. I still lose, and people go, "Oh, you throw it to prove a point."
Actually, good point. People stopped using them. I think they'll come back again now. Assault instances with jump packs, because people stopped using them because it got a bit pricey. But versus Eldar, you dev wound Banshees to death before they get to fight you first.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, but I'll probably get beat by Paddy because he's a better player. Then everyone will tell me that I threw the game to prove the codex isn't so good.
Also,
and I don't like losing.
Sangard -1 to hit, -1 to wound in combat. Banshees don't so much care about the wound because they just auto wound on 3s. But -1 to hit for Banshees is
puts them back on where they are now.
Yeah.
To be fair. Anywho, there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed this take. Hopefully you're going to come and hang out with us for the rest of the Eldar-based content, which I'm extremely excited for. This is like the happiest I've ever been in the hobby ever, right? Thank you so much for all of your wonderful support today, you beautiful humans. CJ, thank you for the 5. Downscale my polish him to build a 500-point army. 3, learn how to actually play. Nudge me somewhere like Discord or something to remind me to add that to my spreadsheet when I'm at home with my spreadsheet, because I've not got it saved on my Google Drive, so it's at my other office. All right, and I'll add that to the spreadsheet with everyone else that will go through next at the end of the year at some point. We'll do a New Year's resolution like roundup. Anyway, we're going to finish our competitive game. We're going to get some food. We're going to welcome Paddy. We're all going to have a party. We'll probably get naked a bit, and then we'll be dressed again, ready for stream.
I might get Paddy to cook my dinner tonight.
Oh, okay.
Because he knows how to use that air.
It's not hard, Joe. You set
monstrosity.
time and temperature, and then go. It's not that difficult, mate.
He knows how to cook chicken.
Yeah.
I feel like
Should
chicken
we
tonight.
say tonight, Paddy, we're all having chicken burgers, you're the chef?
Yeah.
Should we do that?
All right. I just want all chicken.
Yeah?
All chicken all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of protein is probably really good for you right now, eh?
Yeah. Just thicken me up. Like, yeah.
Anyway, like I said, loads of other content coming. I'm extremely happy and excited. I might even field some of my own painted models tonight. Actually, I probably won't tonight. It'll be when we do the Wraithos one. Thank you so much, you wonderful human beings, for hanging out with us. Hopefully you've enjoyed the stream. If you have, please make sure you hit that like button like we said. Share it around with your friends. Everything's climbing again. Subscriber numbers are starting to slowly go back up, Joe. We're all back on it. Since we stopped playing AOS, not on purpose, just because of what's going on in the 40k world, everything's recovering.
I was going to talk to you about AOS at some point actually today. Thanks for reminding me.
You might, yeah. Thank you, you wonderful human beings. Hopefully we'll see you tonight. If not, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, wonderful time.